Okay, welcome. We would like to welcome lah Dr. Nora to this dialogue session, insyaAllah. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin. Wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Rabbana ftah bainana wa baina qaumina bil haqqi wa anta khairul fatihin. Allahumma inna nas'aluka nafsan bika mutmainnah tu'minu biliqa'ik wa tarda biqada'ik wa taqna'u bi'ata'ik. Ya Allah, kami memohon kepadamu jiwa yang merasa tenang kepadamu, yang yakin akan bertemu denganmu, yang redha dengan ketetapanmu dan merasa cukup dengan pemberianmu. Wassalatu wassalamu ala ashrafil mursalin wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. So thank you very much to our honorable guest speaker, Dr. Nora Madzain, our organizer from Counseling and Career Services Unit, Student Affairs, CFS IIUM, Madam Asniza, as a Senior Psychology Officer, and not to forget all my dear friends and colleagues, my dear brothers and sisters. So we are very grateful today, Alhamdulillah, to have the expert with us. To have a dialogue session in preparing ourselves to support our students, especially during this pandemic era. So Alhamdulillah, let me briefly introduce to you our guest speaker, a very beautiful Dr. Nora. Very pleasant face. Looking at her face also, we may be peaceful. Okay, and I think our heart is very close to her since we moved here. We moved here to Pahang, Alhamdulillah. So Dr. Nora Madzain, okay, she obtained her bachelor degree, Doctor of Medicine from UKM, and she had her postgraduate diploma in applied psychology from University of Liverpool. Okay, her Master of Medicine, Psychiatry, Master Degree, Clinical Specialist from UKM, and currently she is the head of Kuliah of Medicine in IIUM Kuantan campus. Okay, so we are grateful if all the participants can also turn on your camera so that we will be participating in this dialogue session in the most effective way, inshallah. So let's start with our agenda, and let's invite Al-Fadilah, Dr. Nora, and now the floor is yours. فَلْيَتَفَضَّلْ مَشْكُورًا.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much to Madam Chairperson, and thank you very much to the counseling unit, counseling and career unit, CFS, Center for Foundation, particularly Madam Asniza, our senior counselor here, for inviting me and to have a dialogue session. So thank you very much as well for choosing the topic, which is very very correctly put at this time. And we are just starting, some of the Kula just started their years, and I think nowadays the issues of mental health is very largely and hot topic everywhere. Everybody is, and everywhere you can see that the mental well-being, mental health issues, mental well-being among the topics that has been discussed either at our kuliah or our universities, and as well as in the national. Recently among the KPTs, Kementerian Pendidikan Tinggi, there's the Kementerian looking at these issues very as an important agenda. In fact, we will just submit our, hopefully, the budget proposal. The group of universities in Malaysia, UKM, USM, UIA, UITM, and a few other universities, we are working in a group collaboratively and develop networking to focus on the agenda of mental health among our youth, among our university students. So this is how the Ministry of Higher Education looking at this issue seriously. So inshallah, in order for us to prepare ourselves, we have been doing the, I'm supposed. However, we've got to understand more and more issues, what is happening now, and how does we can give the most to help our students, particularly our university students, our youth group. And I believe that some of these, I believe that this session will be, can you hear me clearly? I'm scared that my voice is maybe sounds a bit far.
Yeah, very clear, Dr.
Okay. One thing is, sorry, I forgot what I want to say just now. Yeah, about this mental health issues among youth. We are having, not to say a serious issue, but we can see there's increasing number of students who needs help, particularly during pandemic. Since last year. It is not only our job as a counselor, but also it involves many individuals, many organizations, many units and departments. So we can't work in silo. So one of the things that Madam Asniza, as an organizer here, bringing all the lecturers, the fellows, some of the counselors, and I believe that this program also can be watched by some of the public who are related to the topic that we are going to discuss. So Alhamdulillah, and I'm supposed that it's supposed to be a dialogue. So I shall start with some of the sharing here, and then the moderator can give at any point of time, since it is a dialogue and this is a Saturday morning. We are supposed to do most of our job at home, but we try to spare some of the time to discuss and look through what we can do to understand and to help our young generation here, and also to help ourselves in facing all the dilemmas sometimes as an educator, as a fellows, as a academician. Okay, I have several slides to share. And as I mentioned here, anytime you can always stop me and ask me, and we make it a little bit interactive, I'm supposed. And I have to work as well today. So probably I will have around 1 hour plus, just for 1 hour so that I can continue being a doctor. We are always on call, so I have to go to hospital after this. But inshallah, I'll try to give the most that I can do. And since this is the online session, on and off, I think I can get back into the program wherever we are. Okay, so I can share the screen here. Okay. So what at the end of the session, we are hoping that we can recognize the signs of mental health issues among our students, because we want to understand them. Then the way of helping a person, we must be close to the person and we must understand certain things that they are going through in their life at that particular time. We can identify source of stress during pandemic among our students. What are their difficulties and what do we do not understand about them? Because as you all know, we here, I'm referring to the educators, academician, or even maybe parents who manage to view us in the YouTube, to gain knowledge of mental health first aid, a little bit about mental health first aid. And at the end, we can perform basic intervention and communication to develop therapeutic relationship with our students, and to work with the student on developing their mental health toolbox and safety plan in case they are in crisis. So some of the terms maybe it is not a new term, but we can always discuss. Yeah. Okay, just a little bit about statistic on mental health during pandemic. And we have some of the researchers done some studies or surveys. Yeah. The epidemiology, it was found that the young adults and educated are more vulnerable to develop mental health issues during pandemic. And in Malaysia, the recent study was published in 2021. The studies have online survey was done among 1,500 participants, the university students, and 22 and almost 40% of them reported as having some sort of depression, anxiety, and half of them rate themselves their happiness level at around 50%. 50% rate at the happy or very happy. So if you look at that, half of them, that means if it is 1,000 or around 500 students say that they are happy. So what happened to these 500? They're probably not having mental illness, but there's some issues in their life. So how to understand them? Perhaps the students are not with us throughout this pandemic, but now they are coming to us with the uplifting of some of the restriction, the MCOs, and we are in the phase level 4 for Pahang, particularly. So I would like to just show how does some of these students whom I saw in my clinic and was brought by their parents as well, but with the feedback from the teachers or from the lecturers. So warning sign is absent from class. But how do we know that they are absent? Because now most of the teaching is being done in the form of remote teaching learning, the virtual. So absent from class, probably we do not know. Sometimes the student just on they are in the class, but they are doing something else. We don't know whether their mind and their body is there. Perhaps they just on, but for some reasons, either they have issues or they don't have issues. They have the loss of motivation, so they prefer to just maybe on the enter the class, but practically the phones, the microphone, the videos are closed. I mean, they turn off. So we do not know whether they are there or not. Occasionally, how do we want to overcome this? This is whether they are with us, because most of the times, in the severe cases, only when the problem is escalating, only the parents realize that they are not in the class. Okay, but what are the signs? If let's say we can see them face to face, they are fidgeting, they are restless sometimes, here and there. They have poor concentration in the class. You can notice them if they started. Sometimes we just do randomly call their names, ask some question, and you realize that they probably are not with us. Academic performance will slipping down, poor. And the behavior change that you can see in them is, or maybe noticeable by the students, their fellow colleague, anger and irritable. They become quiet, isolate, and many of the time that we found out in the hostel or in Mahala, or UIA we call Mahala, they will isolate themselves. They don't want to go out. And some of them just having problem with their weight, and they keep on eating to cope with their issues. They don't do any exercise, cope with their issues. And some, for the girls, they will probably sometimes have menstrual problem. So this is the biological changes that you can see. Weight problem, eating problem, either lots of eating or no eating, poor eating. Whether they have sleep too long or they don't have the sleep. And non-specific body ache, the headache, chest discomfort, upper body ache, low body ache, all these are non-specific. And many of them also will tell us about the bloated sensation, the gastritis kind of presentation. Yeah. So sometimes they will not come to us that I'm having a problem. When we ask, do you have any problem? Nobody will answer that, because our question also not specific. What problem? Family problem, studies problem, financial problem. So sometimes we have to rephrase how to ask, how to gain their trust as well. Okay, what are the warning signs? The sleep disturbance, sleepy in the class. We do not know this as well during remote teaching learning. And reverse sleep pattern. Now, the young adults, the youth, they probably will sleep daytime and become more alert nighttime. This is quite not to say this is quite normal. Sometimes you can see them, they tend to sleep late. And our student is just past the adolescent period. They just enter the adult. We call this as early adulthood. Between 2018 to 25 is the early adulthood. And many things happen to them at this time. So they have not just having difficulty to adapt with their new life from the adolescent to the adult life, but they also, the pandemic come at this time. The COVID-19 comes at this time. Similarly, if we look at the children from sekolah rendah, from the sekolah rendah move to sekolah menengah. I mean the primary to the secondary. And at that particular time, they are having difficulties of adjusting with the adolescent, normal changes, normal development of adolescent. And the COVID-19 comes, hit us. So everything is becoming not that realistic. So we have to adjust and adapt with the situation. And if we an adult with the mature cognitive, mature thinking, also find sometimes feel the problems, have issues to adapt with the pandemic. What more with our children, with the young one? So we can expect, and this is where the battle between the parents, the academician, the school, the lecturers, so the battle. But at least we probably has to tell ourselves that we are going to one direction, helping the youth, understanding them to cope with the current situation. Okay, so other signs, the children may be smoking, substance abuse. How do you know all these things? If they didn't go to school, they don't see their friends, but they do have a problem with substance. Substance probably a little bit difficult, but with the recent ways of lifestyle, everything comes on the to us, the CODs, yeah, cash on deliveries. So please take note. Sometimes it does happen that some of our youth and children, youth with difficulties, they opt to the self-coping behavior, which is a little bit unhealthy. From the non-smoking, they started to smoke, and they can buy and get all this from the virtual supermarket or mart, and it does happen even in my clinic. We got to mother bring a youth with the problem, not a problem with substance. And this is shock to the family as well. But because of we are concerned, and the students are also motivated and coming forward to get help. So we said that, Alhamdulillah, I think with some form of intervention, hopefully he's able to go to get back to the studies. Yeah, eating problem, and the students can be moody, self-harm, self-harming behavior. How do we know all these things? How do we know if they are in the hostel? They will not come to see us sometimes, so we have to get the information from the friends, the fellows, and some of them turn into hysteria, it's hysterical, and macam possession, macam dirasuk. These all the sign of a problem with the mental health issues. Okay, so far any question from moderator?
Yeah, thank you very much, Doctor. Very, I think this is happening sometimes. It happens to our students about, especially about the sleeping pattern too.
Mm.
They normally at 1 or 2 o'clock, they haven't yet go for sleep. They tend to sleep after subuh prayer. And then if we start our class at 8, so normally they not really respond to the lecturers lah, of course. Attending classes yet sleepy. So is this also among the signs of the mental problem?
Yeah. Yeah. I think somebody raised the hand.
Yeah, please, Nurul Azrina.
And I think the student also with us here, some of them maybe are following our discussion as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Assalamualaikum Dr. And moderator Ustazah Asia. I just want to share something with, but since I don't know, masalah ni kira macam nak masukkan dalam kategori macam mana doktor, sebab ada parent yang tak tahu nak handle anak dia macam mana, and yet parent call kita fellow untuk tolong tengokkan apa masalah anak dia. What happened is that anak dia memang tak pergi ke kelas, tak tahu sebab apa, lecturer report kepada fellow, and then bila kita pergi ke bilik pelajar, dia just berselubung dan tak buka langsung selimut dia nak tengok muka kita, even though we wait for about 30 minutes tunggu kat situ, dia tak respon apa-apa tu. And then bila kita cuba macam comfort dia and cuba pujuk and everything, so bila kita kata, kita cuba letakkan trust untuk bagi dia trust pada kita. Bila kita macam contoh macam saya pegang je belakang dia, gosok-gosok belakang dia sikit, dia hanya menangis. Nangis tanpa mengeluarkan satu perkataan pun. Sampai akhirnya dia withdraw daripada CFS. Dan tanpa saya tahu apa sebab dia, dan bila saya consult balik ataupun follow up balik dengan ibu pelajar, mak dia kata macam itulah dia dekat rumah, dia tak bercakap dekat rumah dengan adik-beradik, dan dia tak makan sama-sama. Bila time orang makan dia tak makan, time orang dah tak dekat dapur baru dia turun. Macam tu tu. Tapi she is macam bila tengok tu dia macam very soft student, nampak macam baik sangat doktor. Saya tu doktor. Sikit nak share dengan doktor lah doktor. Terima kasih doktor.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Nurul. Betul kan? Madam Nurul. Yeah, it's a very sad thing because the students obviously has some issues in their mental, either the mental health issues. Either mental illness or mental health is different. Not all, we can't say that you have issues with mental health. Stress is very normal. Adjustment to the student's life. We are expected to have a little bit of adjustment for everyone when they started their student days at the universities. We can say that okay, now you've grown up. It's not like when you are in your secondary school days. So we in the beginning we have emphasized without acknowledging the difficulties, the normal one. How can we expect a person from different schools in Malaysia comes to one university? How can we expect them to adjust and without adjusted well? At least some of them will have 1 month of adjusting, few days, 3 months, few days, few weeks, but some maybe require a little bit about a month, 2 months or 3 months, which is in terms of usual situation. So we can say that this is still within normal. However, how to come to this Madam Nurul's sharing just now, and perhaps this is also will take into the some how we can help if we meet or face another similar situation. So number one, that is the sign of mental health issues. So how to deal with that? So when the person unable to look after themselves, it's our job to look after them. It's a society's job, the community job. So of course, the students will not talk because the personality also somebody who is always keeping to themselves, maybe very low self-esteem, feeling inadequate, inability to continue with the studies. It's just a beginning, so they requires help. So since the student in the beginning, probably once we identify this, the mother also seems to be concerned about that. So we are on the same goal. We also concerned, the mother is also concerned, parent also concerned. So we can empower or help the mother to bring her to see a psychiatrist. If it is not a psychiatrist, there's a lots of other gatekeepers, counselors, psychologists. Sometimes the person who is the children or the person comfortable to. Sometimes they are comfortable with one or two friends, or they are comfortable with one or two sisters or brothers, even uncles, auntie. So get them, bring them, because they will not talk to somebody which they are not familiar with. And we do not know the issues, whether they have been having some issues at home previously, become scared, or but looking at this, the mother seems to be supportive, wanting to help the children. So the advice is get them out from the silly mood, and then get them talk, bring them to the counselor. Or if the counselor, or if she is at the stage or the state of, this is what we call it, acutely distressed, they can't talk. The acute distress moment can even make the person staring blankly like a possession. So we can bring them straight away to the any health facilities. If let's say we have what do you do is correct. You go and the children, the person is just crying, and sometimes bringing them to see a health professional, bringing to the emergency would be can break the silence. So how to break the silence? If at that particular time we can bring them, or we can go and bring them to somebody who is expert and how to. Sometimes they are in acute distress. We need to give some form of if they are not eating, they are not sleeping. So we have to monitor the blood as well. So we have to see all these things. Yeah. So get them. But by next time, if we face this again, get Madam Asniza or any counselors, any fellows, bring them to the emergency. Because you can have a person who is in the acute distress, or even this depression that can go to the severe one is the stuporous. They will not talk. They are in the daze. Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Doctor. I think we have another question. Maybe someone raise his hand. Brother Muzammil, please.
Assalamualaikum, Doctor.
Waalaikumsalam.
I just like to know whether these mental issues they happen by suddenly happen, or there is some some signs that develop to this mental issues That's my first question lah. Number two, I would like to know there is internal punya factor lah. Internal ni macam students punya internal, and then kalau you compare with the external, which is the environment, the surrounding. From your expertise, what would be normally the main that cause these mental issues? Is it whether it is internal, whether it is external, and then how, when it happened, how we control this external issues and internal issues ni. Okay,
Yeah.
so that is my questions. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. May I know, Brother Muzammil from
I'm from physics department, lecturer physics department.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Now, question number 1 is, how does it happen? Whether we can tackle, so I go for the internal factors and external factors because I think it will answer the first question. So certain students are more risk to develop mental health issues. What type of the students? This is what I can show to you. Okay, this is some of the personality characteristic that can are more prone to develop mental issues. Apart from the changes in them, the biological also can give some risk. For instance, those who has previous what we can say that brain injury or nerve injury, since childhood, since birth, they have some issues, delayed speech, some emotional, some developmental disorders, frequent epilepsy attack. And sometimes we find out that the children who has trauma during childhood, during birth, antepartum, these are the risks, biological risk for them to develop more on the mental health issues. And out of this, the internal also will interact with the environment. So the internal here, let's say we say the psychological or personality. Personality is the psychological issues. It that's related with the bio and social, and that shape the person to become like that, to become a certain kind of personality. What sort of personality can come from a different parental style as well. So having said that, if the child has from the beginning has difficulties, always having fever, frequent admission, this history of trauma during childhood, abuse, physical abuse, so it does change the biological component in themselves and the psychological as well. So those we know that coming from the family of dysfunctional family, parents always fighting, it does make a person has no trust, very low self-esteem, because the childhood life is defined as a loss for them. Loss, they lost their childhood. What are the children supposed to be living in the secure environment, secure, safe, loving, and they can explore the world to make them resilient. When they want the answer, the parents are there. So the external factors here will be the parenting style, family, financial. Sometimes, if you look at that financial issues, how does it escalate the problem? So if the poor living condition, poor living condition, many families, siblings in the house. So this will just make a person do not have area. Maybe they will be fighting for love sometimes. And it makes the personality either two things here. One, it can be a positive effect. One is negative effect. So the positive one, it makes a person more resilient, provided they also have some intelligence, because personality will be influenced by the character of the person. The inborn, lahir-lahir lagi memang dia jenis yang suka menangis, betul? Ada yang lahir-lahir very easy jumpa orang semua very independent. Tapi this is the inborn, the character, the traits yang lahir. However, it just says that the living condition will help them to mold to become a person who can cope with the many situations. So if they found that the poor living condition, however, the parenting at that particular time are more open, more emphasize on the communication, not the authoritarian or neglect parenting. So authoritarian, neglecting, over-involvement also can give rise to certain characteristics. So the parenting style, the social living condition, and the person, the student or the person itself give rise to a satu persona. So if the child waktu kecil, like waktu dia lahir, dia pun tak ada masalah, and then throughout their development, they are given provide the secured and secured, yeah. Not to say that you must have a big house, lots of money. However, it's more on your relationship, the communication between the child, the children, or the person with their parents. Because throughout the first 7 years of life is very crucial for the children to develop their personality. And one thing that when something happened to them, whether the internal or external factors, it will interact. So being a person who has low self-esteem, masa kecil selalu kena bully, masa they are trying very hard, most of them, kan? They wanted to be the best in the class, to have to fulfill the expectation from the parents, so they do this and do that. However, at one time, kalau benda ni they keep on doing, but they can't get some sort of like recognition, ataupun sometimes the stress is too much for them. So this is where the coping will drop, and they started to show all this emotion. So how does the external and internal relate? Yes, it does relate to mold a person to become certain type of person. And bila ada stress, dia akan the repeated stress ni yang akan jadi, after some time akan jadi isu. Contoh saya bagi senang sikit, ya. A student bila datang CFS, tiba-tiba ada show some difficulties, nak adjust baru. Then we go back, we found out that waktu dulu dia memang ada sometimes they have difficulties waktu belajar, tapi they are still try to improve themselves, and every time they want to approve, they need approval from the parents sebenarnya. Recognition, not just recognize bila dia buat salah, tapi bila dia buat yang betul, tak ada pula recognition daripada parents lah, sebab parents yang banyak dengan diorang waktu diorang tengah membesar. Okay, so that's why kalau di sekolah mungkin they start to learn and they pick up certain sign, certain behavior, because they are learning, the children is learning. So when they go back, the parents should be given them and guide them sebenarnya. Walaupun di sekolah memang ada cikgu, yes, we work together, but banyak yang kita tengok, if the parents tengok ada satu case, dia kata dia kena bully di sekolah, and when I get back home, I want to tell my parents, tapi my parents kata itu tak ada apa tu, you are strong boy, you are strong girl, You must be able to do this. So kita tak allow pun. So the children, they learn. Lepas ni, I don't have to tell. I don't get enough. I don't get any explanation. If I say something pun, they dismiss all this daripada awal-awal. So when they they have a difficulty, selalu the young one ni akan cakap, kalau saya cakap pun parents saya tak faham. Cikgu pun takkan faham. So lebih baik saya diam. This is very common. Because kenapa? Because they've learned dulu-dulu pun kalau cakap. And to tell you that sometimes the children, especially the girls, they've been molested when they are young. They've been some sexual abuse, molestation, but they can't tell the person, the parents or teacher, because they're so scared. How do they learn that talking or telling something is scared? Because previously they've learned. This is a pattern that they've seen when they wanted to talk. So when they are old enough, 18 years and above, they have their own self-control. No, I don't have to tell people. So they keep with them, and then this is where one stress came, they're able to bangun. Another stress datang, tak boleh bangun. So one time, jauh daripada CFS, datang daripada mana-mana semua, and then no friends, no families, nobody knows, and masalah pula nak start the new friends ni. Kalau selalu, why so far dia okay sampai masuk CFS? Because they have supportive teachers, they have supportive friends. Now they come to the CFS, or they've started their life in the university, they have to make another new friends. Untuk dia buat study group, belajar, they can ask, they can this. So this is why it is started. So it is interact with the situation. Being a person yang sebelum ni pun memang ada, kalau tengok low self-esteem, dependency. So it's interact. And the sign, as I shared previously, is personality change, persistent. So memang kita boleh pick up, particularly we will pick up during any life event. Kita kata life event, ya. Masuk sekolah menengah is life event, a new life event. Masuk CFS is a new life event. And when the person is under stress, masa ni lah baru kita tengok all the traits tu akan keluar lah. Those yang traits dia suka volatile, suka marah-marah pun waktu ni lah dia keluar. Dia put under stress. Okay, so it's interact. So bila happen, kita tak boleh nak kata sangat pinpoint whether external or internal, because it's interact. Tapi memang betul-betul akan ada satu external situation yang very trauma, katakan tanah runtuh, disaster, peperangan, kena rape, semua ini akan dapat post trauma. Maka how strong you are pun you akan ada issues sekejap, which is normal lah. Normal to have all this acute stress reaction. Cuma handle the acute stress ni. So bila kita nak handle, kita identify external and internal. So how to go about the internal factors about that person? Kita boleh bagi psikoterapi. We try to highlight apa selama ni yang dia susah, and we highlight their strength, their weakness, and we say to them that we empathy to them. We must put our empathy, not just sympathy. Sympathy, you're not doing anything that much. Okay, just empathy is okay to tell them and be with them, inside with them when they need to talk, because their idea is nobody will understand. It's like that. Okay, so external things that we can control, we control. If we can't control, then we will focus. We have to focus on things that we can control, the present moment. This where some of the, we as a lecturer, counselors also must be mindful lecturers, mindful fellows, mindful hostel apa semua. Kita kena mindful lah bila kita, and ada spirit, kena ada roh dalam pekerjaan kita. Spirit. Then we can help those student in needs.
Okay, any more sharing or inquiries from our fellow participants? Yes, Madam Husna, please.
Assalamualaikum Dr. Nora.
Waalaikumsalam.
Nice to meet you again, Doctor. Long time no see.
Alhamdulillah. After COVID, after so long.
Yeah. Okay, now, as a principal of Mahala and also lecturer in economics department, okay, I deal with a few mental health issues. To gain their trust is not easy. Okay, but once we get the trust from these students, okay, then inshallah they will open to us. They will tell us things that you don't expect to come from our students. Okay. Tapi isunya kan Dr. Nora, dia ada tapinya. Okay, what if, okay, in one case, okay, dia dah cerita dah dekat kita, okay, tapi dia kata, madam jangan cakap ke orang. Okay, madam jangan cakap ke orang, ni between saya dengan madam je. Orang lain tak pernah tahu, saya tak pernah open pun dekat sekolah, tak pernah pun cakap dekat counselor ke, dekat lecturer ke, dekat kawan ke kan. So kita rasa macam guilty tau, bila dia dah cakap macam tu, kita dah macam make a promise, okay, to her that we are not going to tell somebody else. Okay, but then of course lah kita perlukan orang lain, fellow kita or even boss nak discuss ni how to actually deal with this type of problem. So macam mana tu doktor?
Okay. Thank you Madam Husna. Somebody yang selalu bekerjasama. So first kita kena tahulah what are the things that kita nak cerita tu. The student tells us a lot and involve their punya personal life. What are the things that we want to tell people? We want to tell that, okay, these students have these issues, that's all. We don't want to tell them what is happening to them in their earlier life, semua. Unless kita nak cerita apa? What are the issues yang kita nak cerita tu? Kita nak cerita dia ada masalah, but we don't, masalah tu masalah apa sekarang ni? Contoh dia, kalau kita kata dia ada sakit, maybe diagnosed sakit mental ke, sakit fizikal ke, cukup tahu sakit sudahlah. Nak tahu apa lagi? The student tells us so that dia boleh release dia punya whatever dia simpan selama ni. But for us to work together to others, kita tak perlu pun nak cerita student ni dia memang bermasalah. Ataupun dia ada, bukan memang bermasalah, dia ada issues. Tapi kita kena cerita yang dia ada issues dan macam mana kita boleh help. So, saya rasa mungkin Madam Husna rasa student ni cakap jangan cerita masalah saya kepada orang lain. Maksudnya dia tak tahu pun, dia tak nak pun orang lain tahu yang dia ada masalah. Dan masa dia bercerita dengan kita tu mungkin masalah ni lain, masalah keuangan, masalah dia jatuh cinta, masalah dia kena sexual abuse, physical abuse. Benda tu semua kita tak perlu pun cerita kepada siapa-siapa pun. Cukuplah kita yang tahu, tetapi kita nak beritahu kepada students ke apa semua, we are here to help. So sometimes kita just nak alert only several people sajalah yang kalau kita ketua, kita nak tahu fellow in case you are in need. So we know that how to help you. Tapi cerita dia, cerita-ceriti semua tu pun tidak tidak ada pun. Kalau patient datang jumpa saya selalu akan cakap apa sign dia sekarang, apa symptoms dia sekarang. Cerita ni banyak. Orang suka mengumpat, mengata pasal cerita. Tapi kita kena fokus pada apa sakit dia, apa masalah dia. Adakah masalah dia adjustment. So kita try to help dengan adjusting. Kita tak perlu nak cerita yang bila kita bercerita kita akan start, oh dia tu memang datang dari dulu. Kita suka describe orang tu. Kita tak tengok pada isunya. Contoh dia, oh dia tak boleh tidur. Jadi dia tak boleh tidur, dia ada anxiety. Yang itu memang tak apa. Kita beritahu student that we will tell you that you are having this so that it's easy for us to help and we care for you. Kita tak mau cerita yang semua tok nenek dia daripada zaman dulu apa semua tu tak, no need. It's just because the student has been keeping with them and they feel relief bila dia dapat sebut yang itu. And this is happen to my clinic every day. The patient yang datang, saya tak pernah cerita seorang apa-apa pun semua benda-benda ni doktor kecuali doktor. So doktor jangan tulis dalam saya punya record. Oh, insyaAllah kita tak tulis je, kita akan tulis some issues waktu dia kecil. That's all. Yang lain-lain kita simpan lah. Tapi kita kena tukar mindset kita. Bila kita nak describe Madam Husna, kita tak cerita dia sebenarnya seorang guru ekonomi, dia adalah fellow, dia sekarang mungkin macam ni. Tapi kita akan cerita, kita akan start benda yang, kita akan start benda yang membawa kepada sakit tu dulu. Padahal kita tak nampak benda tu dulu. Contoh dia lah. So our session in English and Malay. So maybe some of the international participant bear with us. Hopefully we are using some of the very easy easy language lah. Okay. Okay,
if there's no more inquiries from our participants, I guess Dr. Nora can just continue with the
okay, a little bit sikit
yeah.
lagi.
Alright.
Right. So kalau yang personality tadi, some memang akan ada impulsif. Dia buat kerja impulsif ni is buat sesuatu tanpa bagi masa untuk fikirlah. So let's say what happens sometimes, impulsivity ni also can be bila kita ada stressful situation, some of us do the impulsive je. Kalau tak dapat belajar sekejap, tengok kita dah buat something lah, tak fikir panjang dulu. Problem solving skills, waiting for someone to solve. Sometimes dia tak ada problem solving tu. Poor emotional regulation, macam bila dia rasa sedih tu dia tak erti nak cakap dekat diri dia sendiri. Dia perlukan orang. So this is what we call external locus of control. So external, maknanya banyak isu kat luar lah. Tapi kalau emotional regulation ni mana dia tak erti. Kalau daripada kecil bila ada something, dia diajar dekat parents ataupun cikgu ataupun siapa-siapa, it's okay, you are sad now, but you can do that, you can do that, you can regulate your own emotion tu. That this is a learning experience, learning kena take place. Insecure, some memang ada anxious, lepas tu letak high expectation on themselves as well. I'm not a good student, so they become, so when they put a high expectation on themselves, I must get A's, I must pass with flying colors, I must get this. So they have the black and white thinking. Black and white thinking pun ada. Kalau saya tak dapat ni, makanya ini. Kalau ini, itu black or white. Saya tak dapat masuk, saya tak dapat A, saya tak dapat ni, maknanya saya teruk dan saya dah tak guna, saya perlu buat sesuatu. So dependency, some of the student are dependent trait. So bila datang ke mana-mana ada changes, kadang-kadang dependent ni nak makan pun kena tanya orang. Nak beli barang-barang sikit, tudung ni cantik tak? Kawan cakap, tudung tu dah tak. Sikit je orang komen dah tak mau pakai dah. Sebab kita dependent, ya, kita tak boleh buat decision. So bila dependency akan ada avoidance sometimes, anxious, tak boleh buat. Ada orang dependent ni nak makan sendiri tak boleh, nak kena ada kawan, nak ada teman. So kadang-kadang the problem will occur because of dependency ni. Bila masuk ke CFS atau ke universiti, they lost the independent dependence. They start, the dependent tu akan over. Tapi kalau kita boleh kalau kita boleh identify and we start to do some psychotherapy, individual or group, insyaAllah, because our personality, our nerve, our personality can start. I mean, also it is developed most of the time before 18 years old, but our mind, our maturity will go on until 40 years old. Like one of the, in the surah, surah said, surah Al-Ahqaf ayat 15. Surah Al-Ahqaf ayat 15, when it is clearly stated at the 40 years old, the nerve, we reach the maturity. So as long the maturity, and we can either, people say life begins at 40 or what, I think the 40 is clearly stated, so it shows that the maturity, and at this time also we are supposed to recite the doa from the Surah Al-Ahqaf tu, ya. So that shows that all this we are still developing. So we can always learn until we reach certain maturity. Dichotomy thinking just now, personality characteristics. So do we really need to do some personality testing or some form of trait to look at? Well, it can be the career and guidance counseling can do this, to look at what is the strength, what is the trait, and having sort of, we are not talking about personality disorders. Personality disorders is one of the psychiatry diagnoses in the diagnostic and statistical manual. So, but this is our personality characteristic of certain people that colors the person. So for so some of this personality, actually the character can be a predisposing factors, the risk to develop depression or anxiety. I give you an example. The person who is very highly obsessive. Highly obsessive means that they're hardworking, they put certain target on themselves, on this and that. So every time, and things must be according to their not to say their rules, but their plan. So if the plan is not happen, so they will get stress. Repeated stress, later on they can tendency to get anxious and depressed. So there are, and how does this personality develop? It is involved with the trait, intelligence, upbringing, the environment. So it make up the person. Signs of serious disorder, sometimes patients started to talk to themselves, or some manic ideas also can. Talking too much, over friendly, spending sprees, special power, they become disinhibited. They suddenly daripada budak yang quiet, tiba-tiba tengok lots of ideas, involved with many activities and distractibility. This is also the serious signs of disorders. Yeah. Okay. How long more that we have? Okay. Now, one of the issues that I'm gonna talk here is about the risk of suicide. How does the suicide or self-harm in our student, because sometimes we do receive as a fellow or lecturer, sometimes you are called, we don't know what to do when the students have a sign of suicidal behavior, right? So suicidal behavior doesn't mean they are having mental disorders. It can be part of the poor coping skill. However, if we want to understand them, okay. If let's say the student shows some of the signs just now, the sleeping pattern, and change, and we identify all this together. So how do we know during pandemic? So either we get the information from friends or from parents at home. Okay, so let's say we were informed that a student has a history of self-harm, risk. So usually they are this is a sign for crying for help, number one. Yeah, crying for help. So they can't tell, they just keep with them, and they started to self-harm. So this is a crying for help, number one. Number two is a sign of failure in life as well, the hopeless, useless. They may be depressed, and sometimes the other things that people sometimes judging and label as attention seekers. Okay, so the one that we probably will try not to put or not to judge as attention seekers. If we start to judge them as attention seekers, we are not going to help them. We are not going to help a person. It just, okay, this is attention seekers. Nobody will help because we are judging them. Please take whatever in the beginning we do this is a sign of crying for help, and let the mental health professional, the specialist, the mental health professional deal. As at our level, perhaps we can do something like this: mental health first aid. Okay, I think some of the CFS counselors have listened to this last time. But what is first aid? First aid is similar like when we give first aid accident or emergency. Do you need to be psychiatrist, a counselor? No need to be, but you just give your first aid, the psychological or mental health first aid. Aims is to preserve life. So the moment we see any, let it be whether the students say, okay, this is attention seeking, what all thoughts came to us, but we give them the first aid is to preserve life, to provide help, to promote recovery, and to provide comfort. So this is the least or the most that we can do as a lay person, as someone who is not in the field of mental health. We are not psychiatrists, but we are educators, we are the teachers. So these are the things that we can, with our aims is to provide help, assistance, preserve life. So assess, listen, reassurance, professional support, and encourage other support. So what happened in pandemic? During pandemic, I will go to what are the issues that apart from the source of mental health issues among the students during pandemic. Existing health, personal and family issues already there. They are sick, they have physical illness, sometimes they are having they have the chronic renal failure, the kidney problem, sakit buah pinggang, on dialysis. Sometimes all the physical illness are highly related to the mental health illness as well. A personal and family sudah ada dah existing. So boom, pandemic came. So it just accentuate the issues in the particular person. Uncertainties, please be sure about what we are doing in our university. Lockdown and quarantine, hostel, sekejap-sekejap quarantine, sekejap-sekejap open. Okay, hostels closure, tak boleh pergi keluar, tak boleh, no social activities. Class cancellation, we cancel the class. We are online, everybody become online. We do the classes as we like. I hope it is not happening. Sometimes this is some of the online classes, class cancellation, and sometimes the classes will be cramped into one time because of everybody also has to change their way of teaching and learning as well. Changing assessment system. We've changed from the physical, we can do the lab, we assess the lab report, they can go, but now we can't, how we can do the similar assessment. So of course we have to change, and changing of the assessment, the student is the one that need to change as well, mentally, physically, lots of assignment, writing ups probably because of the pandemic and the graduation time. We do not know whether we will, when we are going to graduate. So this is the issues during pandemic. Not only that, some of the students or many of us are worried about the disease as well. So we have to we have fear about the illness, the limited social activities. We felt isolated, and if the students used to go to universities, they can involve with co-curricular, they can see friends, they have the social gathering at the restaurant. All of these things are gone during pandemic. So this is the changes. And again, how we can expect, how can we prepare ourselves as well as our student to go through this. And from pandemic now going to endemic, but inshallah, alhamdulillah, we have 2 years and we are more prepared now. I think we are more adjusted now. And the students have fear about their future. Are they going to get work? Are they going to get job to work? So especially from the families who put high hope on them. So some of our students are having struggle with the financial issues as well. So we do not know this until we find that one student comes and slash his wrist, and we started to dig what happened, this and that. So how to identify and get them the sign, the earliest sign, probably dalam kita punya kelas, dalam kita punya class, how many, maybe I'm not sure how many in one class. They are divided to, they have some maybe mentor, mentee, I guess. So if we can always, jangan tanya masalah. Do you have any problem? Nobody want to say anything. But maybe we should, every time after class, take 5 minutes to ask, what do you do in the hostel? What did you get anything? How about the food? How is the canteen? So we are talking something like we are not asking, do you have any problem? Nobody. But take some time after the class, 5 minutes, just ask. One of my student, I remember last year, after class, I said, okay, how's your life in the hostel? Are you okay? Are you okay? They said, okay, doctor. We have to be specific. What okay here? Okay with the food, okay with your sleep. Okay, so ask specific questions sometimes can help and can help them. So then they started, it's difficult, doctor. The panda food cannot come. We have to go to the gate last time lah, masa mula-mula dulu. And it's not about that they don't have money to buy, but even the procedure itself pun menyusahkan them lah for them. So I said, oh yeah, it's not easy because you know how far the gate from the hostel. I don't have motor, I don't have cars. Masa tu ada one time. And then I said, oh, okay. Let's see what we can do about this. So whether I should talk. And then you are the academician. You are the one that always with them. I'm talking about those students waktu tu dalam hostel lah. Because my student is the hostel waktu tu. So I said, yeah, perhaps I can just bring this to the deputy, to the fellow, the kuliah, the mahasiswa, how whether they can do something about the procedures. And then they write in the WhatsApp, they said, thank you very much, doctor. This is the first time one of the lecturer asked us how do we live in the hostel. Okay, so they just by asking them, they made them relief. So what do you do with the mental health first aid? It's just this. Sorry. So let's ask more specific, not just do survey after survey after survey. And the students are saying that no more survey. What is our action? That's more important, right? Of course, when we do, we wanted to do so much to our student. However, perhaps we have to deal with the regulation, the mahala punya. We know that, but at least what we can do here, this is the help, assess, listen, reassurance, encourage professional support. This is where we direct them to here and there. So, and then encourage other support. Encourage other support lah yang we look at what are the areas lagi yang kita boleh. Social support. Social support for our student. I think the kuliah, atau some of the kuliah, even do the donation drive for those student yang tak ada, yang tak identify, tak ada internet, macam-macam lah. So I think all of this, tapi how? Some of them ni, dia kata, they don't come to the support because dia kata ada orang lain lagi perlu. Ada juga. Kita rasa dia perlu. Tapi dia kata tak apalah, we don't come to. However, then we have to say to them, it's okay if you don't want to that support, the waiting that you need. However, it must be also be reflect in the behavior, cognition. Maksudnya, dia kata dia tak nak support, tetapi kita tengok dia susah juga. Affecting dia punya pembelajaran. So, dia kena clear lah yang itu. And sometimes dia orang ni malu ke apa, so kita kena cakap, kita kena beritahu dia, it's okay. Kalau you cakap ada orang lain lebih perlu, orang lain pun cakap orang lain perlu juga. So now we do what matters now. Tak payah nak fikir pelik-pelik dah. What matters now. Supaya juga kan dalam hukum ke ustazah kan, macam dia kata give dah ada kemudahan kat sini. Jadi kita ambil kemudahan tu. Kan? Okay. So I guess this agak yang spesifik yang tadi. So listen tu je. I nak fokus dengan steps ni. Step je, suicidal behavior. Kita tengok ada tak alat-alat, ada tak dia tinggalkan cara dia kata saya I cannot continue anymore. So kalau ni kita tengok ya, ada look for sign bila kita pergi ke bilik dia tu, talking or writing about death, dying, suicide, hopelessness. Ni kalau yang suicidal behavior dia, ni saya fokus sikit sebab dia melibatkan safety kan. And always ini ada anxiety, sign-sign yang dia ada rasa feeling trapped, no reason for living, no sense of purpose in life. So okay, apa yang kita boleh ni reason dia orang ni lah, unmanageable, hopeless, guilt of burden to others. Saya yang menyusahkan mak ayah, saya menyusahkan cikgu, saya menyusahkan fellow. So, and some of them ada yang dah psychotic ya, yang the voice asking them to do. Ni ada suara-suara. So what to check? Semua kita dah check. Okay, prepare yourself. Your attitude towards suicide. If suicide is wrong, if suicide is rational. So mula-mula kita akan cakap kat dia, kadang-kadang dia cakap ini mungkin setengah lah cakap, mungkin ada yang tak cakap. Jangan buat macam ni, ini haram. Allah. Bila sebut yang ini saja, betul, we agree memang kita tak boleh. Tapi when to say this word? When? Orang tu tengah krisis, kita datang cakap kat dia, ini haram. We are adding another guilt to them. Okay? So, talk to someone who wants to talk, do not push, just provide and show your genuine intention. Jangan kata kita ngeri atau takut nak sebut, do you have thought of suicide or ada tak? Kalau rasa nak tanya lagi, jangan macam, ada tak kalau kadang-kadang kita susah hati, ada fikiran buruk datang. Ini adalah normal. Fikiran buruk ni datang normal ya bila kita ada depressed. Kalau tak percaya, baca surah Al-Kahfi ayat nombor 6. Di situ Allah beritahu kepada saya yang bukan bidang saya lah, tapi insya-Allah dalam kita merawat ataupun memberi bantuan ni, kalau setengah tu bila kita cakap dalam surah Al-Kahfi tu saya terbaca dia kata Allah sendiri kata bad thoughts tu, buruk tu akan datang bila you susah hati because kaum Quraisy tak nak ikut Nabi SAW bagi dakwah tu. So Allah beritahu dia jangan you akan susah hati macam ni, tapi dia ada come back to you. Itu menunjukkan bila kita susah hati ni memang akan ada sometimes bad thoughts tu. So kita cakap dekat orang tu, you having, so kita tanya ada masa macam contohnya ada planning, thinking about harming or killing. Kita kadang-kadang nak sebut tu kita takut haram pula sebut macam ni. Nanti dia bagi idea kepada orang tu. No, thinking doesn't mean doing. Baru fikir. So bila budak tu boleh cerita about that, then kita bolehlah bawa with the person and talk about that, so kita pun comfortable. Janganlah kita dah ada perasaan nak bunuh diri, Allah. So janganlah macam tu ya. Kita mesti empathetic. How to show empathy? I said yes, anybody who is having situation like this would have the problem. So kita validate lah emotion dia tu. Validation of the emotion. Lepas tu dia kata saya nak menangis, saya nak scream. Scream, jangan scream sampai tempat mana kita nak ajak dia nak scream. Boleh juga. Dia kata saya nak scream. Okey, kat mana kita nak ajak dia pergi scream? Kalau duduk kat airport senang kan, bila kapal terbang tu naik je, bising je dia boleh scream. Jadi orang lain tak dengar. Dengar bunyi kapal terbang. Okay. So it's okay to talk and to feel sad. So acknowledge and cakap kat dia thanks. Terima kasih sebab saya tak tahu. Thank you for sharing semua ni. So ini yang in the beginning lah SS ni, and then we can allow the conversation and bring them to the provide the support, professional support. Don't argue with the person about suicidal thought. Mana boleh, kau ni tak boleh ni, macam ni macam tu. Discuss right or wrong about suicide, tak boleh, ni salah semua, tak payah. No need to do that. We acknowledge saja dulu. Inflict guilt, premature reassurance, tiba-tiba cakap, don't worry, everything will be alright. You have everything for you. You ni tak bersyukur lagi. Kau cuba tengok orang lain yang lebih elok. It's not that time. We have to use when they are out of dia dah settle, dah barulah kita nak cerita instill yang lain-lain. Masa itu do what matters waktu tu saja. Dan jangan pula ada masa tu duk cerita, put your stories. Ada orang tu dulu dia macam ni. Saya dulu susah juga fail exam macam ni, baru masuk CFS semua. Saya dulu, dan kita ni tak habis-habis dengan cerita saya dulu. Kenapa budak-budak sekarang macam ni? Kenapa saya? Masalahnya zaman kita dulu keluar-keluar tak ada handphone, tak ada smartphone. And our generation now is living with artificial intelligence. So kalau kita lambat, memang dia orang tak tunggu kita. Okay, say just do it. Maksud dia, janganlah sebut kenapa potong-potong saja, baik kerak terus. Jangan buat macam tu. Ini all those communication which is shouldn't be there. So what we provide, listen. Okay, so kita boleh tanyalah how long, and then now bring them to see anything. Okay, ada chat ada chat. Saya tengok chat. Chat ni question. Nur Farah Sazwani. During RTI, what is the best thing that we can do if we notice that our students are undergoing some stress at home and show some effect on his or her studies? Okay. The best thing, the best thing sebenarnya minta student buka kamera. Okay. Tapi dia kata pula data mobile je nanti habis buka kamera. So we notice that there is, apa dia punya sign? Saya tak cukup duit nanti. The issue. So what are the university boleh buat? Bring them to the in campus lah. Kan? That's one way. Tapi it's not that easy jugalah benda ni. So we can, if we notice that our students are under some stress while at home and show some effect. Okay. I'm not sure about we really need to. That's why kita rasa dia stress. Lepas kita tanya 5 minutes tu, tell me what do you do at home. Ada orang cakap hari ni masak, hari ni sebab that means they are okay lah. And then ada juga yang okay, kalau you can ask, kalau ada siapa-siapa yang rasa susah nak cakap ramai-ramai macam ni, I am always here. You can always drop me an email. You can call, email lah, email communication kan, email, or you can I don't know whether they are access to your phone or not, or drop me some message. And then sebab kita bagi peluang. Yang tak bercakap tu kita kena panggil. Kan ada student dia asyik-asyik sama je jawab kan. Tapi yang tak jawab tu kita panggil. And encourage them. So kalau kita dah notice tapi dia at home, we can alert the parent. Please do this. We've done this many times. Tapi sebelum kita alert parent, kita kena tanya student tu dulu. I notice that you are ni blah blah blah. Is there anything that you would like to share? Kalau dia kata tak ada apa. So it's my concern sebab ni. Lepas tu, is there anything happen at home or anything in the class that you don't understand? So selalunya student kalau dia tak nak cerita yang di rumah, kalau dia stress di pasal belajar, di rumah atau di hostel sama juga. Dia tak faham kan. Tapi kalau dia ada stress tu melibatkan hal rumah, mungkin dia akan personally beritahu kita. So kalau let's say dia kata, anda student-student ni mungkin awal-awal lagi rasa macam better for them to be in the hostel kadang-kadang. Kadang-kadang lah. And then apa tu? Sebab kita dah notice dia ada study yang ni, effect studies. So kita ask the student dulu, kalau student rasa reluctant, so kita bagi dia orang beberapa ayat-ayat yang dia sendiri be spesifik lah. Makan macam mana, tidur macam mana. Lepas tu kita beritahu kita punya concern betul-betul. Saya rasa macam saya perasan pelajaran menurun. And so we are concerned about this, we are care about this. Can we get in touch with your parents? So kita cari, kita yang pergi dekat mereka. Bukan kita tunggu mereka datang kat kita. And we have a right in terms of in the concept of kita nak the best untuk the student tu. Okay, saya rasa dah lebih masa dah. I give back to Madam Nur Asia, Madam Chairperson.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Dr. Barakallahu Fiq. We are very grateful to have this kind of very beneficial sharing. It was so amazing, Doctor, because we can have all this knowledge in order to further effectively handle the students in this campus, insyaAllah. Doa yang doktor kata tadi, surah Al-Ahqaf ayat 15. Very encouraged by the Prophet, for us to recite this doa. Rabbi auzi'ni an ashkura ni'mataka allati an'amta alayya wa ala walidayya wa an a'mala salihan tardah wa aslih li fi dhurriyyati inni tubtu ilaika wa inni minal muslimin. So we express our gratitude to the ni'mah granted by Allah. So in a depressed, maybe we can remember of all the bounties granted by Allah to us. So hopefully, insyaAllah, with this remark, once again, we would like to express our gratitude to Associate Professor Dr. Nora Mazain, insyaAllah, to have this kind of sharing and dialogue.
InsyaAllah.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. And thank you also to the organizer, Madam Azniza from CCSU, CFS, IIUM. So thank you very much. Let's end by reciting with Suratul As and Tasbih Kafar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, Dr. See you insyaAllah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
Okay.
Hope to see you again.
InsyaAllah.
In future programs. Kak Zah, nanti link yang sama je kan Kak Zah?
Okay, sama je link yang sama. Dr. Haniza dah ada tu. Kita Kak Zah dah buat dia co-host.
Oh, okay. Okay, Assalamualaikum Dr. Haniza.
Waalaikumsalam. Tapi kita mula 11 kan? Saya masih di session. Okay.
Kita
Ya
start
Doktor, 11 Doktor. Kita boleh break sekejap.
Masih di program ni sebelah lagi. Sekejap lagi saya. Kan saya lompat sana. Okay.
Okay, Doktor.
Azniza boleh bagi link Zoom tak? Sebab
Ya, ya doktor.
boleh bagi saya link Zoom tak? Sebab saya nak buat kat desktop.
Link Zoom. Okey. Saya bagi by ni doktor, by okay, sekejap.
Sebab yang ada ni dia tak mau ni lah. Dia tak mau. Saya try juga lagi kalau boleh. Okay.
Doktor. Link Zoom.
Sebab yang saya pakai ni sekarang ni phone. Jadi saya nak try yang Zoom.
Okey. Saya dah bagi dah. Dekat WhatsApp doktor. So jadi doktor masuk dua window lah kan?
Terus saya kena keluar yang ni.
Okey. Doktor boleh keluar ni, nanti saya buat co-host lagi.
Ya tak?
Doktor masuk, nanti saya klik co-host. Okey.
Saya kena leave yang ni. Sorry lah sebab dia yang ni pun ongoing, baru aja habis.
Faham. Tak apa doktor. So kami yang rasa doktor tengah sibuk pun masih dengan kami.
Saya cakap dengan you all dulu, so saya rasa macam lagi nak kan. Cumanya saya tak sempat lah nak prepare banyak. Tadi ada banyak discussion tak?
Quite numbers of soalan lah.
Okay.
Tapi cantik lah sebab bila kita dengan educators ni kan, diorang ada something yang diorang nak zahirkan kan. Itu yang dia jadi dialogue session tu.
Okay, kalau baguslah sebab saya it's good lah kalau boleh buat discussion kan lagi cantik lah.
Yes.
So
actually saya buat survey tu doktor, tapi mungkin bila diorang baca iklan tu, diorang tak perasan yang bawah tu ada survey sebab saya kempilkan sekali simple survey tu dengan iklan. Jadi mungkin diorang pun busy kan, mungkin diorang tak tengok in detail, dia just tengok poster je kot sebab survey tu saya tak masukkan dalam poster. Survey tu saya masuk dalam huraian tu kan. Huraian kat bawah. Kan every time dengan poster tu kan kita ada maklumat program kan. So kami dapat, semalam saya tengok ada dalam 5 orang je yang jawab survey tu. Itu saya kata tak apalah, tak pakailah. So mungkin untuk next mungkin cara lain lah kot nak buat survey tu.
Okay, saya dah dapat dah ni, saya leave sini lah.
Ini doktor masuk, doktor dah keluar, dah masuk ikut ni dah? Dah stop dah? Okay.
Baca tak baca?
Okay, saya dah buat doktor co-host. Okay, dah pukul 11 dah, kita boleh. Husna?
Yang dalam kebanyakannya semua follow YouTube ya, tidak ada berada di dalam.
Tadi ramai juga dalam YouTube. Dia sama banyak tadi. Dalam 18 orang, 19 orang dalam YouTube. Yang dalam ni tadi 15 orang, 16 orang.
Okay. Soalan ada keluar kat YouTube ke?
Tadi ada satu soalan keluar kat YouTube. And ada someone ambil soalan tu masukkan dalam Zoom.
Okay. So, dalam staff CFS sebenarnya ada berapa?
Saya rasa lecturer lebih 100 lah. 200 kot.
Rasanya 200 plus juga.
200 plus lah. Sebab admin staff dia dah 100 lebih, 100.
Kita nak tunggu kejap Kak Zah.
Nak tunggu kejap Husna.
Rasanya sebab tadi pun dia masuk dalam pukul berapa?
Dia masuk, Dr. Nora dah start tadi, dia orang masuk. Dr. Nora dah cakap dah start agak about 10 minutes, 5 minutes jugalah kan.
Sekarang dekat YouTube ada tak yang view? Dia tak masuk dekat YouTube.
Tadi baru kejap saya tengok ada.
Ada dah kat dalam YouTube.
Ada 5 orang. Ada 5 orang kat YouTube.
Okay, so kita nak start ke Kak Zah?
Start lah kot. Sebab benda ni dirakam kan. Dalam YouTube dia terus.
First time ni jumpa doktor, tak pernah lagi sebelum ni. Ada program dengan doktor. Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Husna dengan CFS as counselor ke?
Apa dia doktor?
Principal.
Ya doktor. Tapi dah lama dengan CFS doktor, 20 plus.
Oh ni pakar dah tahulah luar dalam kisah di daripada ni lah, daripada PJ.
Saya start Rumah Pantai.
Okay.
Daripada Rumah Pantai tu. Okay, so kita start doktor. Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I would like to welcome all participants, brothers and sisters, to our second session for today's dialogue program. Okay. I am your moderator today, Madam Husna Maria from Mahallah Azdah, and also lecturer attached to Economics Department, CFS. Okay, first of all, we would like to say thank you, especially to our organizer, Counseling and Career Services Unit, CCSU, especially to Madam Asniza for organizing this program today. Okay, and then we feel so grateful, so honored to have with us, okay, the experts. Okay, this morning we have Dr. Nora, and now we have Dr. Haniza Rais, okay, to have a dialogue with us on a very special and important issues. Okay. Now let me brief you something on our honorable speaker. Okay, we have with us today Assistant Professor Dr. Haniza Rais from Department of Educational Psychology and Counselling, Kuliah of Education, Gombak Campus. She obtained her PhD in Education Counselling from IIUM, Master of Science in Counseling Education from Indiana University of Bloomington, Bachelor of Arts in English Minor Education from University of Nebraska-Lincoln. Our dialogue session with Dr. Haniza will focus on promoting therapeutic relationship with students during distance learning. Okay. So without further ado, I would like to invite Dr. Haniza to help us to understand more on this topic. And the participants, okay, please feel free to interact or to ask questions, okay, to our speaker during this dialogue session. So Dr. Haniza, the session is yours.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Terima kasih. Thank you tadi guna sesi berbahasa Melayu, jadi saya punya language transition is a bit troublesome here because I'm still in another program with a bunch of PRS from, just to let you know, because I may be quite disoriented right now because I'm also handling another program at another window. So but if earlier on I was with much younger audience, they are from schools around Kuala Lumpur and with Putrajaya. They were a bunch of PRS, pembimbing rakan sebaya, and we are talking about topics quite important topic on suicidal prevention and self-harm. So my mood there is quite, different from the mood that I have here. I now have to bring back the therapeutic things in the session because we've been talking about lots of things over there that kind of affect me and the way I look at things and be with you all within this 1 hour. Thank you for inviting me. It's really a pleasure for me to be here. I hope it's not this within 1 hour. I'm going to share with you what I know. I don't claim myself as an expert because I was a bit surprised with the posters given, Husna, when it's written there, I'm an expert. I'm just here to share things. I'm also experimenting with what's going on with our system, and it is like still lots of challenges that need to be ironed out, and I think we will learn together because moreover, I was just, when I did the RTL for the first time, I was in the first semester. It was really a struggle. I know everybody was struggling, but today the topic, when we do this, is we are entering the third semester already. I think the third round of semesters for all of you, most of us. So it might be different because last semester I was not in the picture because I was on a sabbatical. So maybe some of you probably cope better than me because you have done it the second time around. But for me, I'm still, trying another approach for this the coming event. But I can share with you things that I observe. My slide is very minimal. Like I said, I'm focusing on the PRS because it's one whole day workshop. Daripada pagi tadi, I was at the screen from 8 in the morning. In fact, 7:30, you tahu JBK, Guru Bimbingan Kaunseling, they are so, I don't know, I'm just amazed with this group, all the school counselors, they're so committed. 7:45, I dah kena ada dalam screen and we'll be here for until late, about 5:30. So bear with me if if I look like disoriented or kind of a bit off. So can I share the screen right now? Where is yeah. Don't expect too much from my screen, but I think I will welcome questions and discussions and suggestions. Maybe we can put things together with your own experience. Yeah, FCFS, thank you for inviting me. Yeah, I have 2 kids actually completed salah slide lah. I have two of my kids actually graduated from CFS, so I know quite well how it is for students to be at the campus. You have very beautiful campus in
Gambang.
Pasal
apa tu, Doktor? Pasal apa tu, Doktor? Yang your kids graduated already?
One already in the 5th year dekat dentistry. Another one after CFS dia pergi universiti lain. Completed. Sorry. Mana slide ini sekejap ya. Tak keluar pula. Okay. Sabar ya. Building positive. Kenapa tak keluar? Tajuk dia 2021. I think this is it. I hope this is it. Okay, I hope this is the one. I'm not gonna do display tau. Normally when I did display, there will be things that won't appear in the slide. Can you see the slide? Building positive therapeutic relationship with students.
Yes, yes.
All right. Okay. Okay. By the way, the topic today is, to me, I put building positive relationships because I don't know. When we want, I have to. I think let's define therapeutic. Therapeutic to me is not therapy. So whoever's listening, we have to be able to know the difference between therapy and therapeutic. Therapeutic is just something that brings you better feelings, improve feelings, your situation feel better, you feel good about it, and that is therapeutic. So I hope we'll be on the same page right now, because I think some people probably sometimes the misconception about therapeutic is also a therapy. Therapy is another thing that we do with helping professionals who are expert, and normally it is done in a very close setting, with one helping professional helping another client, whether it is individual or in a group setting. Normally people have issue will go through therapies. Okay, but in this case, anyone can experience therapeutic experience. So today, this morning, perhaps if I say something good, something nice, make you feel better, that can be therapeutic. So I think the topic is about how you can be yourself as a teacher, as an educator or instructor, but you can actually build that relationship with your students, and so that they feel much more ease in the learning process. So we know that this is us, right? As academician. Boleh relate tak? Can you relate to this? But because of what happened,
Mana dapat tu lawa.
sorry lah, I just use whatever we have. But anyway, this is what we see in our room lah. Students, if we don't allow them to come to our room, they don't know lah. My room lagi lah, pile and piles of things, and you don't get enough chairs, you don't get enough shelves, it's like everywhere. But the one thing good about COVID-19, we actually probably have able to get rid of this in the room, but they are elsewhere. And they can also be much complicated because we have to pick up new skills. And for those people who are actually so used to having things tangible, you can read things. I tak tahu lah, Usna, you have trouble tak? Sometimes I have trouble because reading on the screen is really can be painful to be able to read between or if you have one student, 10 students, 20 students, but if you have like 40, 50, 60 students, 7 and 100 students, that can be a really challenge this time around. So yeah, let's start with COVID-19 lah, because that's the setting, and Husna and Azmiza, we can actually make this santai tau. You can actually make me feel less nervous, anxious.
Yes,
so that I don't feel alone. Okay, all right. So COVID-19, macam mana? How are we affected? That changed our life actually. Who could have thought? At this time of of our life, suddenly we have to be quarantined. And the word quarantine, I tak tahu. I remember my grandmother used to say, apa dalam bahasa Melayunya, quarantine, berkurung, perintah berkurung. That was always referred as Japanese time, Japanese occupation time. And you know how scared it can be to me when I, bayangkanlah, it's me and somebody who's older. But actually I have kind of this perception that when it is quarantine, it is really bad. So in March 2020, last year, when we were told about that we're going to have quarantine, I think we are all affected. We start thinking, alamak, nanti jadi macam masa Jepun dulu lah. We have to be like, stay in, and we have to make sure we have enough food. I don't want to eat ubi kayu, because you remember tak, our grandparents kan will always talk about, kita tak makan nasi, makan ubi kayu. That's why have banyak jadi panic buying at that moment. I pun termasuklah juga panic buying tu, walaupun tak beli toilet papers that much, but I think kita kan sama-sama kawan cari nak, bila dia kata itu yang terbayang. So But
Tapi doktor, saya tak terbayang lah ubi kayu, doktor.
okay, maybe because I was so close with my grandmother, so sukalah dia cerita what happened during the Japanese occupation, and I feel so scared lah masa tu. Tapi I tak cakap my children because you know it's gonna scare them. So I said, but it's just to imagine that being confined to our own house, not going anywhere, we may not get enough food, so belilah Maggi banyak kan. But alhamdulillah, actually it went so well kan, alhamdulillah sangat. It was not as bad as expected, but really it changed our life kan. Changes take place, and sometimes it can be sudden changes, it changed our life, suddenly our kids are no longer going to school, so those are the things, it helped health and wellness also affected. We start thinking about our health, kita takut kena jangkitan, kita juga take care of ourselves, make sure we the hygienic part, we make sure that our kids are also aware of the sanitizing part, SOP and all that. And I think we went through the stage when we are so nervous to send our kids back in school. Okay, all right. So why am I bringing this? Because we are in education system that we are also having our own life, and whatever happen in our life affect the way we deal with things at work. So you imagine lah kita punya struggling and we see education affected from preschool until higher education, semuanya affected in if somebody asks which level are most affected, I would say ada yang kata alamak sekolah is more important, university is more important. To me, preschool also important. You imagine 1 year of preschool without being in preschool environment. So, and it's just defeat the purpose of having sekolah tadika kan, preschool, because you're supposed to interact, make friends, that part they miss, and that can also be something that also affect our children in the future, because eventually they're gonna be coming to us, to the university. So their human development, affected. They are not facilitated in terms of their intellectual, their social development, and that can also probably have a long-term effect later. But I hope, Nauzubillah lah kan. COVID-19 juga no physical interaction, mostly done by social media, and this is quite a struggle for someone who's not so savvy, or so we're not equipped with the skills. And before this, we have a choice. I can do, or I don't have to do it, with technology. So for some people like us yang nak almost going to retire in a few years, who cares you want to do the technology thing when it's not necessary for some people. But again, we are forced to be working work from home, and the worst part when the term come, work from everywhere, anytime, anywhere. So bayangkanlah ya, we've been working. The moment you open your eyes until you close your eyes, you still be working, and you have no excuse, because it is just it's there to get through. So there are other things that COVID-19 technology dependence to get connected, and this is the pattern, the culture that have come to the picture when we have to go Foodpanda and Grab. Dulu tak tahu, now I also do the Foodpanda thing macam hari ni lah. So I'm going to do that. Because initially, when you first started, you want to cook everything for, but after some time, you get exhausted. You want to be perfect mom to cook day, pagi, petang, but not anymore after some time. It affects PDPR. Everything needs to be adjusted accordingly. Okay, this is the situation at home. Our students are at home. As much as I'm complaining or I'm sharing the struggle at home, our kids who are actually at home studying, the CFS students, because my son is doing one of the semester at home, doing CFS, the foundation. So he sees things. He, some whether you have good kids or not, they are there. They observe us. They want to help out, and sometimes they feel guilty not helping us. Sometimes they feel out of obligation. They need to help with the dishes or even buang sampah. Which they don't normally do when they are in the mahala, They have their own room. Many of us probably lucky to have our kids have their own room, but there are kids who are actually struggle to, share their rooms. And we're not yet talking about sharing gadgets. But I think CFS that identify people who need gadgets, so that should not be a problem. But that is another issue about top up and all that. And I think that also another thing that probably need to be considered later. Okay. All right. So everything needs to be adjusted accordingly. Sorry if alamak apa sal pula ada stress kat sini tiba-tiba. I think this is the wrong slide. Okay, let me buang this one. Okay. Silap ni. Okay, ni. Pandemic is crisis. Okay, let me start with that. When it is a crisis, we have to change a lot of things, and bila crisis, we need to think about, people will always talk about flexibility over rigidity. So we cannot be too rigid on things. So if we can do that, we are actually, without negotiating the quality, I have to mention that also. So we can actually be less rigid without negotiating the quality of our work. There are things during crisis that is the unpredictability and the unexpected changes, but all this require our immediate reactions. We cannot say, alamak, tunggulah minggu depan, or tunggulah, we'll wait until next semester, we'll wait until this is over. It's not going to work that way. When we are in crisis, we need to be able to know what's important. What's important in life? Who can actually share? Siapa lah? What's important in life? With our students, with our life lah. What's important that we cannot live without? Ada tak yang jawab kat YouTube ke? Anyone can jawab lah. Tak ada nak jawab ya? Okey lah, saya jawab lah. Ada Husna nak jawab. Okey Husna, silakan.
Tak adalah doktor nak tanya. Okay, important in what? In
life.
job?
In life, for you to survive in life, what's important? The most important.
Okay, most important thing for me, I'm like an old school lah doktor. Nak apa ni, to be on track with the technology while teaching, quite difficult for me lah.
Okay, basic things in life. What is the basic kalau saya ubahkan tulis basic necessity, keperluan asas?
Keperluan asas using
for you to survive life.
To survive in teaching.
Life, kehidupan, untuk hidup. What do you need to hidup?
What I need in life, of course, money.
Somebody mentioned the major word, money. Why do you need money? Kenapa? Why do we need duit? Why do you need the cash?
To survive, we need to proceed with our life. Okay, we need money.
Okay, what do you do with the money? What do you do with the cash that you have?
To buy our necessities.
So that will be necessity-nya ialah
food.
Yes, okay, alright, okay, alright. I know, maybe my soalan I tak berapa kemas, but basically I'm referring to the basic necessities ni ialah basic apa kata orang tu, the basic needs basic needs ataupun keperluan asas adalah makan, tempat tinggal, okay, those things, okay, that's why we need duit. So and this is affected because ada orang lost job, okay, ada orang memang sudden loss of jobs among the parents. So you imagine anak-anak dia, kalau anak-anak dia anak-anak kita dekat CFS. So for us to be talking about all this canggih thing, you know, like get this availability of connection through social media, they may not get what we thought they should get. You know, they may have that limitation in terms of pada dia nak makan pun susah. So these are the thing that actually the main concern yang kalau you tengok kat sekolah, in school, dia ada program dia panggil pembugaran. Dia when students come back to school, dia akan bantu pelajar-pelajar whatever they bring to school about their issues at home. They will help them with managing that issues so that they are able to focus on the study. So similarly, your student at CFS, they may come like that also. They may be coming from families who have struggle even to get a plate of rice, something like that. So in our life, whatever happened, especially in a crisis, our immediate needs is not to get students to get hand in our task ataupun assignment on time, but to make sure what's preventing ataupun what's whatever that impedes the process of submitting assignment, printing beautiful brochures, for example. Probably they don't have that means to pay for the even to print. I remember students even to print one piece of A4 paper pun is if they don't have money, they don't have money. So during crisis, this is one of the major things that we have to be able to understand, the immediate needs, the basic needs. I'm sure CFS has done that. And at the same time, during crisis, we also help each other to make the adjustment and to deal with coping. Perkataan adjustment coping ni akan ada dalam the next slide and in the rest of my in my presentations. Okay. How many years have you taught, Husna? Saya panggil Husna je, tak apa
Tak apa Doktor. I joined 1997.
How long has it been?
9, 10, 11, 24.
24 years.
24 years.
And Asmiza pun joined about
95. Saya 95, Doktor.
Okay, alright. Anyone else here? If they can share in the YouTube or in the chat room. How many years have you been with UI or have you been teaching? So, okay. Yeah, we all have taught for quite some time. Okay, I've started teaching in 1991. So that has been quite some time. But what happened during this pandemic really tests our expertise ataupun our kepakaran in teaching.
Kebiasaan tercabar.
But for us who have taught for quite some time, we are quite complacent.
Yes.
We are quite settled and comfortable with the
Yes.
way we teach. And some of us can actually brag. And it's not bragging actually. We can just say, okay, teaching class, kata kelas, satu kelas, EDG berapa? My class like EDG C1001, Introduction to Counseling. I know, we it sounds like we're bragging, but we have been teaching that for so many years. I know chapter 1 apa, chapter 2 apa in the course outline. So we can just enter the class and talk about one chapter without referring to anything because we have been doing it. All right. So, and the struggle, the thing that we have to do now is the art of teaching. The struggle, able to make changes to our pedagogical approach in teaching. And the new skills learned because of pandemic. How many of us learn to manage apa yang you all guna? Padlet lah. We pick up most of us we have to do Google Classroom.
Zoom, we use Zoom, we use
Zoom. Zoom was introduced earlier last year and I was so scared to use. I was thinking somebody else will be with me zooming together. So I think we are becoming, we have to upgrade ourselves. The Zoom, Gmeet, the StreamYard lah, all kinds of things, all the new things that we learn, we pick up slowly. And this
nanti Microsoft Team lagi, Doktor.
Microsoft Team lagi, aduh. And we cannot just say, I don't want to do it because if I don't want to do it, do I have a choice? Should I quit now? Nak quit pun siapa nak ambil kerja masa COVID ni kan? So some of us are actually those people yang about retirement, but I really envy some of our colleagues who pick up skills. Sometimes these people, they are much, more ambitious and more excited, and they get into the learning the new skills faster than than we expected. So these people are these are true teachers lah to me. True teachers will make kita tak nak like whatever happened. We are worried about our students. We are worried that students will not get what they're supposed to get, and because of the changes. So I'm so proud of academicians lah, teachers and academicians, because despite all the thing that happen around us, we try to manage. So the basic challenge is with teaching, not physically present, the pandemic situation yang unpredictable, so unpredictable. And I remember the first half of the pandemic, we be waiting for the statistics and all that. After some time, it gets so high, we don't care about statistics anymore. Okay, but thinking about our students, think about how CFS students coming to us, not on campus, but they are virtually with us, how they start their new phase of life. Okay, so because of the pandemic, we are affected, ourselves affected personally and professionally. Okay, our students are affected. So we try to meet halfway. We try to compromise. We try to revisit our level of tolerance. Some of us can be very strict to our students in the past, but we have to revisit and check on ourselves whether we're too rigid and being are we treating our students just the same way as we treated them when they're in, during the normal teaching and learning? How about our understanding? Do we try to understand? Because in between, to tell you the truth, in between there are students who are actually having issues or having attitude problems, who are but there are, among these people, there are students who are really struggle with things. So we have to be able to know which is which lah. And our empathy ni sometimes overrated, because empathy ni just, it's not that easy to put ourselves in their shoes, but we can actually offer ourselves to, ask them how to help us understand better. Alright? Ada soalan tak so far? Tak ada. Okay. Saya proceed.
Ada lagi, Doktor.
Okay, reflect on ourselves. Professionally, we are trained, we are experimenting with the years of teaching. I mentioned that earlier. And personal life, we are struggle with our own issues at home. We probably have our own families are not perfect. We probably not everyone have perfect families. Some of us probably experiencing challenges in life about our children may not be, perfect either. We are not perfect parents. So during, whether it is because of what happened due to the pandemic, or it has been that way, so it's gonna affect us. Okay, so and especially with the COVID, there might be losses in life, losses of loss of loved ones that probably affect us, and that this is not easy. This is not easy for anyone. Okay, so for some people who are not affected, they read newspaper, they watch the television, they see people loss of life every day. We thought that, oh, every day ada kehilangan, every day ada kematian. Kita pun dah jadi macam, kita tak naklah kata kita dah lali tahu dengar. But I think every losses is every single every loss is different. So we are not in that situation. What more if they have multiple losses in the family? So, and if it is affecting us, in between tasks, in between that experience, personal, even if you don't experience losses, probably we are affected negative COVID and positive COVID, for example, and that we have to be quarantined. And I also want to mention here the effects of COVID. Once you are positive COVID, even if you recover, the effects can last for quite some time for some people. I'm sure that you read about this. Some people will have temporary memory loss, physical pain, I have friends who actually confess, they get, she said that she's a cancer survivor. She said that COVID-19 is something else. So it shows how we can be affected. You know, if we were diagnosed with positive COVID, and the effect can take some time lah. Kesan dia. In between tasks need to be delivered. Okay. Whatever happened to our life, we still have to deliver as in teaching. That's us, instructors or lecturers at CFS lah. Okay. What about students? Ni I want to spend more time on here. Number one, this batch that you have today on your campus or not, are they coming to campus back?
Right now we have around 100 students in campus, and then they are coming lah later on in SEM 2.
Okay, so eventually they're gonna be more people on campus. But this batch that you have currently, they are very unique batch. You know, if you want to talk about coping, if you want to talk about resilient, these are the people, because they managed to get through SPM. Okay, so I will want to be with these kids because I want to learn how they cope with COVID-19. You know, having class, not having class, you know, coming to school, not having, you know, the normal life that the senior Form 5 had, you know, they miss a lot, but they still survive. They made it, you know, and they made it not just, you know, made it past dia berjaya. The result must be good. If not, they are not in IIUM. So, but it doesn't mean that they don't have issues. It doesn't mean that they are free from things that are experienced by others. So what are the potential issues? So typical things during COVID that may be experienced by most of us, they may have anxiety. Why anxiety? Coming to UIA for the first time. Imagine lah, kita pun teringat kan bila kita dapat masuk universiti for the first time. Anxious kita kan, we are worried about so many, we are actually excited tapi the anxiety is there. We are not sure macam mana nak, you know, homesickness, rindu kat mak dulu lah, pada diorang tak homesickness tapi dah ada issues lah kan. So anxiety, will I be okay? Will I survive this, you know, foundation courses? Is it going to be different from, you know, studying for my SPM? Will my instructors be the same like teachers in school? You know, what kind of teachers going to be in my classroom? What kind of assignments? You know, what is CGPA? You know, very often students foundation ni, first year students, first semester, they don't really know what CGPA. So very often juga we have students whose CGPA is not quite high because of they don't know the implication of, you know, compiling ataupun how every, you know, kita kan calculated kan, accumulate all the assignment and all that. Then they're not that way. You know that SPM, I remember my son failed a certain subject in the earlier Form 5. But because of the teachers punya drilling and helping bimbingan, having all the tests almost every week, that improves. And it is to me amazing lah how teachers can do that from someone who failed and at the end, alhamdulillah, dapat A's kan. So these are the things that actually student expect tau. Dia kata, oh, when I was in school, teachers helped me and I'm able to improve, and they disregard pun yang fail in the earlier year. But in foundation, it is accumulated. So they don't know, they are not so used to that. So I think this one something probably we have to take note lah. They are not so used to that. They don't know what CGPA is all about. So normally kalau ada yang tak berapa tinggi CGPA in the first semester because of that. So, but there are students who are really smart. They know, oh, I want to study, then they get A's lah. So I'm talking about those people yang tak berapa. So adjustment is there. So what more is done online? And they're not so used to, can I ask my teacher, how do I ask ke cikgu ni macam buat lecture kan, when you do lecture it's different from teaching, so they're not sure when to ask, how to ask, you know, that kind of thing. So and so ada issue that issue, anxiety, adjustment issue. Jadi student CFS foundation dengan jadi student tak sama kan, dia kena make adjustment. This is real thing, you know, this is you are evaluated every single things you do in class, whether you participate or not. marks taken. If you do your quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, there's no way that you can actually, some lecturers kan baiklah juga, dia bagi 6 quiz, dia ambil the top 5, the top 4. But sometimes these are the things that is not the same in their school. So these are issues that they may be facing. So how they cope with technique of studying. Dulu cikgu sekolah memang dia dictate how to answer questions. Betul tak?
Yeah.
So dekat and many students ni, they rely on your slides, and they're not sure they will actually use the same technique sebab sekolah akan tengok scheme of answer scheme kan. You have to answer, you have to have these points. So kita pada
hafal
kan, whatever you hafal you give back kan. But in rote learning kan. But in CFS there are questions you have to apply. There are questions. So these are the things that I'm not used to. So how do we help that? Okay, motivation. They have very high. Their motivation. You can see them lah within 1 month. Motivation they're up and down, and the excitement can go down and up. It depends on not only they have new friends and the friends who are virtual. How can I do group work with someone I haven't seen in person? I only see in the media. Dalam the limitation. Not all students are social media friendly.
Ya, betul doktor.
Kan? So you imagine, pernah tak kita terfikir dia mungkin bukan tak pandai. It's not that they are not good. It's just that they are not comfortable. I pun kamera shy juga dulu senang. So sometimes they don't know how to interrupt. They don't know how to, it's not that they don't want to participate. They don't know when to say. One more, CFS ni guna English pula tu. The language barrier. So you have to invite them to participate, because we don't want to kill their motivation later, because they say, oh, I have so big dreams to be at IIUM. This is my, my lifetime dream lah to be at IIUM. Now I'm here. Nobody want to help me because my English is, it's not so good. And I was told people can help me with my English. And now I'm struggling alone. So things like this lah will kill their motivation. They may be a good future doctors, but they also probably be struggling with the language barrier. That is typical, okay? Semua orang lalui. What's the unique thing? Ni and the baggage they brought in tu. Number one, they themselves may be affected by COVID themselves. They themselves may have someone in life, in their family, loss of loved ones. 4,000, I tak tahu university, but for the school children, primary and secondary, 4,000 students are affected. Either they lost mom or dad or both. And it is possible that is going on in CFS. Please buatlah Sniza, dapat tak survey ni? Ada buat ni survey ni tak apa. Tadi Dr. Nora cakap pasal survey, jangan buat survey. Saya pun agree dengan Dr. Nora sebenarnya. So yang ini is very important. Kenapa saya ni study grief and loss? Saya tak, I know that this is not a favorite topic lah. Just recently ni become everybody talk about grief and loss. But actually, if you have lost someone important in your life, you know how hard it is. What more remaja ataupun young adult like CFS students, they are young adults who just started life, who are just experiencing things, their development as a person is still in the process at their peak. So they are affected by the loss of important person in their life. And memang study have shown if you lost someone important in life, it may affect your growth and development, your perkembangan diri lah kan, growth development. So it may not take long. It is normal thing. It depends on how a person cope, but it can last for quite some time. So doesn't mean that they are depressed, doesn't mean that they are having mental health issue. They are just grieving students. So do not label them with depression. Do not label them with in denial of the loss. You don't know what grief, how it feels to lose someone important. Even if you lost someone important, I lost my mom, I lost my dad, but I cannot say that I understand how it is to be losing someone during this pandemic. And because most of the losses are very sudden and unexpected, sometimes you just like, I have someone that I help actually say, husband dia kata, okay, dia dengan happy tau, nak pergi Maips. Okay, see you, dia kata. Pergi Maips. Sampai Maips, dia kata okay lah, dia call, video call semua. Lepas tu dia kata, lama abang kena pergi hospital Sungai Buloh lah, dia kata, sebab I need to my breathing. And that's it, you know. So you imagine sometimes this can happen to them, and this is not easy for them, especially who just started new transition in life like the students that we have, right? And also probably their previous issues, they probably had been traumatized, abused, you know, having effect from the divorced family and all that. These issues can resurface, triggered by situation because of the pandemic, because of the new life on campus, that can triggers to relapse, berulang. Kalau dia pernah ada depression, it can be resurface. And many issues yang saya tolong tali Nur ya? Talian Nur pula. Talian apa yang baru sekarang? Talian Kasih and I know that most people yang datang, yang many people actually, dia dah ada existing issues and it trigger something, the triggers will bring back the issues to resurface. Ada juga yang rasa bila dia datang kat kampus ni, dia rasa relief from relief to be able to leave home. Sorry lah ya, ada grammatical error here and there. Ni baru buat ni Asniza, sorry lah, malam tadi baru buat sikit-sikit. Okay, so dia are vulnerable people. You know, we don't know. We have all kinds of students yang mungkin not as perfect family macam saya cakap tadi, so they are vulnerable. So some students that I have helped in the past, I have students who are getting straight A's, okay, at our university. I have, masa dia study, itu coping dia tau. I kata, you're so good, you get all A's. And then dia kata, tapi bila pandemik dia berada di rumah, dia sebab dia ada hostel kan, form 1, form 2, parents dia bercerai masa dia form 2. So dia boleh cope with the study because dia kat hostel. I can avoid the environment at home because when I'm in school, I will focus on my study and I do not think about my family issues. But while during the pandemic, I have no choice, madam. I have to be in the house, with the people that I'm not okay with or I'm not comfortable with. So that affect the studies. These are smart people, you know. So the same thing can happen to our kids, you know, because they are stuck in the house, in the you know, because they're not in the past. They avoid lah. They boleh avoid the family members. Doesn't mean the family are totally bad, you know. But you're talking about remaja who expect the conducive environment and all that. Okay, so these are the things that can also need to be considered. And considering all this, process of teaching ini may be challenge lah. Dia tak nampak dalam perbualan in your discussion with, you know, in the classroom. But what's behind their, you know, in the back of their mind, you know, they are carrying this in themselves, in their thinking, in their emotion, you know, in themselves, inner self, you know, emotionally affected. We don't know. Okay, so it's good to look at and check on them, you know, our readiness and their readiness. We may be perfect with our Padlet lah, apa benda kan, in teaching, but are they ready to accept what we are sharing with them, you know? And physical and psychological thing, you know, how are they ready physically or psychologically? Physically, I think insyaAllah CFS Iron Out dah balik, dah check on those people without gadget and all that. The top-ups and anything, they all, most of them get scholarship, right? So this thing should not be a problem to get the support. But the psychologically can be a challenge. So, any questions? I ada sampai pukul 12 kan?
Sampai pukul 12.30 doktor.
Oh ya ke? Alright.
Je, so in between kalau ada soalan boleh je participant untuk bertanya.
Lah, challenge me lah with questions. I lapar ni.
Doktor, saya nak share something lah.
Boleh?
During my children punya PDPR kan at school. Okay. Ada seorang cikgu ni, dia memang very macam seronok. Even kita as mak ni pun macam I look forward untuk dia punya kelas tau. Because I can hear lah kan dia punya cikgu yang cakap dekat my daughter's punya PC tu. The way dia cakap tu, dia science teacher untuk form 1, tapi bila dia punya anak murid dia buat cakap something yang correct answer ke good ke apa, dia akan cakap very good, but the way dia cakap very good tu make us macam wah seronoknya nak jawab lagi. Mungkin itu experience kot. Macam mana
Acknowledgement. Acknowledgement. Maknanya
tapi
dia
the
cepat
way dia cakap tu Kak Zah, the way dia sebut very good tu buat kita macam bukanlah just student tu yang happy ni, mak yang dengar ni pun rasa macam look forward nak dengar dia cakap.
Apa ni sister, you also skodeng. Ini parents.
Tapi betul doktor, betul yang Senang cakap tu. Kita lalu-lalu kan tengok anak kita tengah kelas kan. Kadang cikgu lecturer tengah handle tu, sampai saya pun pernah sekali sampai kata kat anak saya, "Kin salam ke lecturer Aras tu?" Sebab macam kita lalu berkali-kali tu kita jadi seronok dengar sebab dia macam menyampaikan gaya yang santai walaupun kelas tu agak packed. Yes, kelas tu agak kelas yang heavy. Yes.
Sampai lepas tu anak saya cakap dia punya best subject is science tau. Because of that teacher. Macam mana teacher tu attract tu.
Yes.
Kan?
Betul lah. Sometimes kan I agree with you. We can actually best practice ni. Kadang-kadang we can go to the lowest level to sekolah rendah. Bayangkanlah ya how you do physical education dalam and how they actually do it. So macam I think I agree with you. I'm amazed lah. Some teachers are actually do all out, you know. Lepas tu I have a friend yang kata, oh tak boleh lah, saya tak boleh buat apa sebab hari ni saya punya kelas pendidikan jasmani and I will put on my pendidikan jasmani punya baju and I will do the demonstration in front of my student. Ini sekolah menengah tau. Saya kata macam alamak hebatnya cikgu-cikgu ni, and I'm sure banyak lecturers yang dekat UIA, dekat CFS yang buat benda yang sama. So kita tak boleh, itu je yang kita ada sebenarnya, itu something yang we can think about lah, how we can make some changes in the way we teach. And kalau mak excited, anak excited, mak excited, that means dah boleh dapat Murabi Award tu.
Kita boleh invite teacher tu.
Betul, boleh. Jadi dia boleh share best practice dengan kita. Sebab I think kita ni naturally we are different kan, kita punya personality. Saya mungkin tak pandai nyanyi, suara pun tak sedap macam mana nak nyanyi kan. So but you see teachers, they can actually be actors, actress, dia orang boleh berlakon. And they can do the mimik and all that. And if we cannot do that, we cannot force ourselves, but there are other things yang kita tak sedar yang kita boleh buat. Dan kepakaran kita mungkin terserlah semasa COVID-19 ni. Sebelum ni kita taklah apa kata orang tu, tak tahu pun kita ada bakat-bakat terpendam ni, but because of CFS, because of pandemic ni, kita pun explore, maybe aku boleh buat macam ni, maybe I can try that. I think that's a very good point, how to be creative even online.
Yes.
I think kalau inilah, I think get lah someone, maybe, you know, I pun will never miss lah kalau ada orang kata, okay let's do this. Semalam I belajar Jamboard tau, dengan for the first time. It's very interesting, Jamboard lah, sekarang ni meter-meter lah, benda semua tu kan, that can actually make students feel interactive. Jamboard tu pun saya rasa macam, you know, you have to learn the creative strategies, and I think I know colleagues at education banyak yang very good with creative strategies ni, and they have all these ideas yang manageable lah. Sebab kita ni kadang-kadang kita nak jadi melompat-lompat macam orang muda-muda, tak boleh kan, within our capacity, our kemampuan, abilities. But I think it's good to be creative, and this is the moment that the crisis actually lead to creativity in teaching and really test us lah kan. So okay, very good discussion there. If any
itu pun boleh relate pada therapeutic relationship lah tak?
Yes, because
the way we apa tu sampaikan dalam kelas and so on.
Because pernah tak dengar you know, there's another thing that probably people tak ataupun overlook. the role of feelings and emotion in teaching. That is what we call immediacy, how we actually take note of our own emotion and our students' emotion, feelings while we are teaching them, because they are also human beings. If we talk about humanizing education, we have to be able to know how they feel while we are with them and how they can relate to how we can relate to their feelings. And macam as Naz cakap tadi kan, you said that acknowledging and validating.
Yes,
Acknowledge. Are important. Validate the feelings. You cannot say, cikgu saya sedih lah, cikgu saya tak boleh. So maybe our favorite answer kadang-kadang kita, alah janganlah sedih-sedih. You know, when you talk about feelings, you cannot change feeling, or you cannot like menafikan the feelings. Okay, I can see that you are sad, you know, the way you reflect the answers. Alah, counselor tahulah kan, tapi teachers pun boleh belajar lah how you reflect the feelings. That I know you are sad, I know you are not happy with things, you know, but you know, I'm so sorry to hear this, you know, it is so unfortunate that you are home, I'm here. You know, but I cannot imagine how you have to study at home to focus. At the same time, mak suruh masak, mak expect kita hidang makanan, mak expect, you know. But these are the things that actually skills to the students that I would say, jangan kata, you have to be able to tell them that it's okay. Manage your. I understand that this is not easy for you to be doing this at home, but I also want to make sure that your relationship with your mom, with your siblings, with your family are not affected. I want you to do the task, but you probably will be my mom, mak saya tak pernah, macam tak faham saya belajar. So it's good to coach the students to be able to communicate how they feel to their parents. I always tell people, okay, you can actually have notes on your door saying that I have class. Give schedule to your parents, you know, say that don't disturb me during this time and this time. I have this. Mom, today I have quizzes. Mom, today I have to finish my work. Mom, today I have, you know, I have meetings, you know, discussion. Kadang-kadang mak kata, kau ni malam-malam pun ada kelas. Kau ni malam-malam pun ada discussion. So itu Dr. Haniza cakap kan. So you imagine, you know, orang yang tak ada, the parents who are actually not in education system, they don't know how education is about. Learning for the education in education is round the clock, and kesian budak juga. So we have to be able to tell the students that don't keep it to yourself. Tell to your mom what happened in your life. Tell mom, semester ni saya ambil 4 kelas. You know, our kids ni susah betul nak cakap, termasuklah anak saya. Kalau tak tanya, dia tak cakap. So why don't you be more proactive, tell them to be more proactive, tell the parents atau sibling, jangan bising, hari ni ada presentation, I have to look good, I want to score, you know, please be quiet. Sebab adik ada 7-8 orang, semuanya PDPR, semuanya rowdy, semuanya tak boleh keluar rumah. So abang yang nak study, nak present ni, nak nampak professional ni, akan jadi stress because of that situation. So you have to be able to, this is skills. I think if the students get the skills, they'll be a better person than, even better than us. Sebab dia boleh belajar dalam situasi sangat mencabar. Okay, I actually bergaduh juga dengan my children. I kata, you know, jangan tengok yang negatif, see the positive thing. You are able to balance. You know, you can cook, you can, okay lah hari ni saya masak kejap sebab saya tak ada kelas. You know, it's something that you do good for your parents and you make them happy, and probably it'll be easier for you because your parents are happy, you study pun lagi senang, memudahkan you. And these are the things that I can actually communicate with my students, saying that it's okay, tapi janganlah sampai, you know, when you don't have class you tidur, when, you know, whenever you can ambil hati, buang sampah, you know, things that you can do, little things you do, and the parents will say, oh, you did something, you do help, you do help with the house chores, you know. Study ni tak semestinya 24 hours kan, kita sebenarnya tahu, we went through that, so nobody study 24 hours, so if they can, you know, we have to be able to tell the kids that you can actually choose one, probably 20 minutes, you know, of your time. Get connected with your parents, get connected with your families, because that is part, and that will actually help with what happened at home. Sebenarnya. Okay. Sebab that skills is new skills. Dulu dia masuk bilik, keluar bilik, pergi makan, pergi masuk dewan, lecture room, listen to the, and then when they study, okay, they can study last minute. They can actually, do their work last minute because nobody gonna kacau them. But here at home, so many things, sometimes the family education, and I have students who complain actually, you know what, my house, neighbor sebelah every day datang, bising cakap ni, and I have to have, when I have class, everybody can hear her voice. It's like so many things happen, and I have students who cried actually, mom expect me to cook every day, and so and there are also people yang ada sick and not so well parents at home, and these are the things yang we have to be able to, we don't know if we do, find out and offer help. So what can we do? First, ourselves lah. Kita selalu dengar perkataan self-care and self-compassion. Everybody talk about it. So you choose your own self-care. You buat apa untuk self-care? Nanti kan saya tunjuk slide self-care kejap lagi. Self-care ni, you define your own way of doing self-care. I think Dr. Nora mentioned about self-care. Self-compassion. Ni ourselves tau as lecturers. Because we want to be able to feel good about ourselves. Maybe kena buat, all this online thing, prepare our lesson, kena buat course plan, you have to do course plan yang you all this time you use the same course outline forever and ever. Now you have to do course plan, and that's really, really troublesome kan. But you have to be able to see that I want to do this dengan reda, dan I want to make sure that what I do is what that make me feel, walaupun nampak membebankan, but I know that, for my students, this is something that I can do. So something yang kita boleh buat, prepare ourselves for that, professionally, make that adjustment, accordingly, banyak dah tadi, saya tulis benda yang sama je, dan bersedia untuk berubah. Sometimes what makes it difficult is when we are not ready to change. Termasuk saya lah. Dengar apa orang, I don't want that. I'm so used to doing this. I'm so comfortable with the way I teach. I am the person yang menulis kat whiteboard tau, Husna. My student memang tahulah. Whiteboard I tu penuh. I will bring all the coloured markers. So penuh, and I love to use whiteboard. Whiteboard is everything to me lah. Because
dah masuk kelas bawa marker je doktor.
So marker, color marker tu mesti berwarna-warni. Dan saya suka yang tebal sebab saya boleh mencantikkan tulisan lah, sebab tulisan tak cantik kan. So these are the things we are so used to. And now I have to teach online. Come on lah, nak bercakap dengan seorang-seorang mana. We are people though. We are used to having people around us. And for the first time talking to the screen, and students kadang-kadang dia tak buka screen kan, and like you're talking to the wall. Ni talking to the wall ni kan. So adalah seorang dua yang cakap betul madam, tapi kalau nak dengar banyak akhir lah, terima kasih madam, terima kasih madam, terima kasih madam, terima kasih madam. That one you will hear later. But throughout tu kita pun tak tahu entah dia tengah makan kuaci ke, tengah tengok Netflix ke, kita tak tahu. So but I think this is something yang kita kena teach ourselves. I know I learned that I can be connected with them by checking, okay, macam mana, atau kita tak boleh buat regular checking for understanding, macam tanya soalan dia jawab tau. Selalunya tak menjadi tau. But we can stay connected by, if we start talking, awak buat apa hari ni? Lepas ni nak buat apa? Apa buat? Like their daily life, cepat dia jawab. Cepat dia jawab. Makan apa hari ni? Asam pedas cikgu. So dia lagi suka benda yang dia nampak dan cepat. So, kalau you tanya, okay, boleh tak beritahu saya apakah erti Akta Kaunselor Malaysia? Tak ada je dia nak jawab. Pernah dengar. Betul, serius. Saya pun tapi but we have other ways to do that lah. Kita boleh make sure that I think one of the thing that is a good practice yang I think will be good is bagi study guide dari awal. Dulu saya practice, kita nak bagi study guide bila nak exam. Saya bagi study guide daripada awal. First class dah bagi study guide. Ini benda yang awak kena cover di semester. Terkejut dia tengok. Dr. Anisa bagi list study guide. Ini berapa chapter awak kena baca. Setiap minggu awak kena baca macam ni. Okay. Dalam kelas saya tak check awak, tapi if you tak jawab, you tak boleh jawab. Sebab kita punya slide kan tak jawab semua kan. Budak ni dia akan ingat slide tu everything lah. But if it's not in the slide, but there's in the study guide, you look for it because you have all the resources, you know. So something like this. But I do not believe in teaching. Kalau 1.5 jam allocated for me, I do not. I normally teach like maybe half an hour. The rest of the hour, I like talk about, you know, about other things to the activities. So dia orang tak fatigue tau, dia orang tak, because macam ni lah, I tunjuk slide banyak-banyak, penat kan. So kita nak prepare pun penat, dia nak, so by the slide they can always view later. I know students love it when we give them the video, I mean kita punya recorded session, but to me the dynamic of having the interaction later to dalam session tu is also important because they can always read. They can this is another thing yang kita cakap, okay, you have to read your text, you know, you have to read your resources ada, but here is for the platform for us to discuss apa yang you tak faham. So these are the thing yang
makan dalam bilik.
So ourselves also, kita kena take note of kita punya tahap kepenatan, fatigue ni kan. So sakit pinggang duduk lama-lama ni sebenarnya. So you imagine student, kita mungkin ngajar satu hari berapa jam ni kan. Student dia belajar daripada celik mati kalau jaga. CFS lagi dah padat ya schedule you.
Ya, betul doktor.
So tak naklah student kita graduate with early osteoporosis. So the back pain. So it is, we have to be fair. So semalam saya discuss dengan a few education lecturers yang orang-orang IT kan. Their perception that we have to use the whole 3 hours of teaching. We teach, we give. Actually, it's not necessary. What's important is for that particular slot, we are able to deliver what need to be given. So the rest of the time, they can actually do later ataupun kita boleh buat sambil santai-santai macam tu. So that we don't have to feel bad not teaching the whole 3 hours katakan. Because teaching is not about just sharing the, you know, slides and all that, because that is the concept of learning kan. Semua orang tahu kot, saya bercakap ni macam orang tak tahu pula kan. Okay. Anyway, prepare ourselves for the possibilities. Kadang-kadang ada budak yang dia memang truly dia punya line tak okay, tapi pernah ada lecturer kata buat remarks yang sangat affecting the students. Ingat dia tipu. So we have to be able to know who's, memang dia might be students who are lying to not telling the truth, but there are true cases yang line dia tak stabil ke, yang you know, these are the thing that you can actually check on them later lah. Okay. Self care and self compassion ni kita kena take care of ourselves so that we'll be a better teacher. We are more positive in delivering. So when we teach, when we smile, kita terus smile through the true smile lah, bukan buat-buat kan nak nampak kita happy. Because when we are okay, student nampak kita okay. Student ni kalau kita tak okay, dia tahu kita tak okay. So with the students, we go a little extra. We have to be more observant of things. Observant kat sini saya tahu quote-unquote sebabnya kita observant dan online susah kan. But you can actually have our other students to be also helpful. Yang tak datang, siapa yang tak datang tu we check on. Okay, berapa hari dah ni Siti tak datang ni. Siapa kenal Siti? Kalau tak ada orang jawab, contact Siti. Okay. Lepas tu tengok jugalah tiba-tiba Siti ataupun Ali katakan, Ali tiba-tiba daripada seorang yang suka jawab, tiba-tiba dia, Ali hari ni saya tak dengar lah suara awak, what's going on? Okay, something yang make them feel that, oh, cikgu notice, and that is to me building therapeutic relationship yang awak masukkan tu lah. That makes them feel better that, oh hari ni saya rasa demam lah cikgu, ataupun hari ni saya just found out my uncle, my grandma is positive COVID, I don't feel good. Apa salahnya? Dia tak affect pun kita punya teaching. So the fact that dia kongsi kita terima kasih Ali, kongsi satu tentang very personal, nanti kalau apa-apa nanti kita communicate later ya. But you know something yang make them feel, I know, because as human being, whatever happen out there will affect the way we acquire things or new knowledge or skills. Kita tak boleh nak fokus kan. So be more observant of that. communicate your concern. Dia cakap, alamak, I realized that ada a few of you never turn on your cameras. Okay, what's going on? You want to tell me why? What's the reason for not turning the cameras? Nanti dia kata, PM me if you don't want to say that out loud. It's okay, tell me, PM me, so maybe dia akan share, cikgu saya punya kamera dah rosak, things like that. So that's something that you can just say. I also notice there are people who are, I pun suka tegur dia orang punya profile tu. Very interesting. I cakap, your profile macam mana, macam ni So at least, I notice, that we notice their profile. So you can make joke about that as well. Okay, communicate your concern macam I cakap, okay, it has been 6 weeks, but some of you are still quite, apa dipanggil, quite timid lagi ke, ataupun quite, I have not heard your voice, you need to say something, at least I know you're there, are you still struggling with things? Tell them, you need any help, keep on saying this over and over again. You may not need that help today, but if you need help later, you let me know, you can, if you cannot say that here in the group, maybe you can tell me personally. Okay, provide support and suggest assistance. You say, if you have issues in your personal life, we can refer you to counselors. There are always support in CFS. Biar dia rasa that CFS ni facilitating, really help them with the adjustment. Then you can say, okay, I'm so sorry you are not here on campus, but you are in campus at IOM, we have this and that. Start promoting so that they get the experience that we are welcoming them. That is connecting. Okay, sebenarnya connecting tu sebenarnya is better word to make them feel connected to us. Preparing that you are one of IIM students, you are now IIM community. To be able to act like one, you have to be able to assimilate yourself, ataupun we have to be accommodating to whatever that is impede ataupun menghalang mereka daripada to be part of us. How do you feel being in UIA? You tahu tak, many of them ni tak nak datang UIA pun. Kan?
Ada yang kata mak ayah suruh.
So selalunya we ask, okay, I know you, how many of you here UIA is not your first choice? Bila saya tanya ni kan ada yang malu-malu. So how many of you here actually want something else, the mismatch program? Okay, so we have to be able to address this. Chances are, I have in the past, I've done once long time ago, masa tu arwah Dr. Marzuki still around, dia jadi dean dekat admin. Ada a few students yang in the first yang readmission ni panggil So these people actually very good students, straight A's, and they didn't make it and they want to be admitted. And we give them this, I think Asmiza tahu put just a simple career interest test, and we have support group with them, and we found out these students, they are just not happy in the mismatch program. So they are not happy, and that affect their motivation. And actually, there are ways to deal with it. I think we can talk about this some other time. Okay, but actually, you can actually at least acknowledge the fact that when you are here in the CFS, do your best, get this degree through, and later on, when you want to pursue something else, you can do that. Like just encourage them to score and all that. Okay. Help screen and refer ni maknanya, kalau if there are any students that you think need help and need to be referred for anything that you rasa macam ada related to personal issues or mental health issues, help refer and screen. Nanti jap reflex ya. Ni feeling student lah, tak payahlah cakap tu. Okay, I think this one reflex. Saya dah cakap pasal reflex ni. Reflex ni kalau macam adalah macam I think Prof Nora tadi dah cakap, changes in behavior, someone who's very talkative suddenly become quiet, changes in any delays in submitting assignments, that require urgent needs, any remarks said, sometimes they say just passing remarks, saying something, but don't take it lightly. Even that you can actually ask the students to help you to say that if you have any students, any of your friends who said something yang not so unpleasant on the social media, in the group chat, something that make you think that this person is going through some kind of a difficult situation, nak self harm ke, gambar dia self harm ke, gambar dia mencederakan diri ke, don't wait, just tell us, report to the counselor. Okay, that is urgent. Okay, I think ada cakap yang ni, remind them regularly, facilitate them and help them through the transition by acknowledging the challenges to start new in this situation, in this pandemic situation, by not being on campus. Okay, remind them regularly, observe and take note, check on them sesekali, call pun tak apa, contact them personally, reflect tadi saya dah cakap, tengok signs of stress and anxiety in them. Okay, kadang-kadang dia bercakap dengan kita pun dia menggeletar ke apa kan, so that can be a sign. So you just remind them, and like these are the things that you can actually pick up, learn about sign of stress, anxiety, understanding grief and loss ni, kehilangan tersayang ni, the effect. Banyak benda yang kita boleh improve in trying to be a better and able to connect with them. Okay, ni saya tulis no more survey, more action from us. We have enough information already actually about our students. Okay, the coming break, selalunya the students complain they need the real break. So masa break, during the break, consider if tasks to be given, because if you imagine you have 6 classes, 8 classes, 8 kelas ya, CFS. 8 kan, at least 8 kelas kan? Courses, sorry. Ada sampai subjek.
Depending on programs ataupun courses tu lah, doktor. Tapi kalau macam kelas pagi sampai petang tu memang maksudnya banyak, including languages as well.
So you imagine kalau they have so many classes and everybody give the task during the break, they don't have the break. So I don't know if you want to make a rule. Kalau ada puasa, I cakap dengan UIA jangan bagi, you have to be berpada-pada lah. Sometimes they need the break to do the assignment. We could understand that. But I think things that is manageable for them, because they really deserve the break. They really, really deserve the break. So, and also my advice, this is actually what I actually compile for myself juga, sebab I learned from this survey shared by people have done surveys, very good surveys done. But I think students complain about not having survey tu, memang I dah dengar selalu sangat. But because we don't react to the survey, so we need the little thing, the least we can do is to be able to consider this. Okay, and also students are quite annoyed lah if we give them last minute changes in tasks. Saya pun pernah buat.
Doktor, kalau macam weekend tu, katalah kita buat quizzes on weekend ke at night ke, sebab tak nak di-clash dengan classes, macam mana tu?
Tak tahu, ini memang budaya kita. Saya I don't know, maybe we can do something about it so that they, maybe Sabtu je, jangan Ahad ke, sebab kadang-kadang ada, bukan kita je, Universiti Malaysia ni semua Sabtu, Ahad, malam, siang buat quiz. So I think this is another thing to consider. If we think we need a break, they need a break too. And good students, they don't really take a break. They do the task during the weekend. But if we added on, we give them, okay, katakan we take the whole Saturday morning for the take home quiz ataupun for the quiz, their break are already taken because of us. But if they themselves do the timetabling or scheduling according to themselves, dia punya kemampuan, that is flexible. But if we keep on giving quizzes pagi Sabtu, malam Sabtu, we have taken the weekends away. So this is the thing that maybe we can discuss later. I don't know with your center, how you can actually do this. But I think if you can actually allocate your scheduling, like maybe on certain days and time, because kena buat quiz kena serentak ya. That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Why don't you try, I don't know, maybe Amy can try to timetabling from the beginning that you have slots for the quiz and no classes during that time. So those are the slots that you dah boleh identify dah. One thing what I learned from my experience study dulu, I think even we scheduling you can actually schedule even the final exam pun kami dah tahu masa before we start the semester, because they make it very very systematic. All classes begin on Monday and classes on Saturday, Monday and Wednesday, 8 to 9:30 will have final exam on this day. So kalau kat US selalunya kita orang punya final exam tak sampai sebulan lah, seminggu je, because dia dah schedule cantik. Whoever in this slot will take exam this slot. So this is something yang you have to work smart lah on this, on the time. Orang yang timetabling lah. Maybe you can slot in quizzes time for this. The coordinator can decide something like this. I don't know. This is my suggestion. Actually, there are ways to do that. But I think try lah avoid. I know if it's not avoidable, at least communicate with each other that okay, we give students no quiz. Especially one thing yang I think I want to share something yang kalau boleh the last 2 weeks before the final exam, janganlah bagi test, janganlah bagi deadlines. You know why? Because they need to prepare themselves. So, but I notice our practice is the very last week everybody give tests, everybody give quizzes.
Dengan presentation, dengan semua lagi.
Kita stress, dia orang lagi stress.
Lagi stress.
If we want to actually build this understanding, therapeutic relationship, we understand them, how they struggle. If only one class tak apa. If everybody is doing it, you imagine how stressful it can be. We went through that. We know how difficult it is. So maybe we can make some changes in that. Okay. The truth is they struggle with the task coming from other courses as well. Like I said, so please, and do not treat RTL like normal physical classroom. This is another mistake we make. We are thinking of conventional way. Okay. And try to have the mini breaks in between. Okay. Mini breaks. Okay, let's have KitKat together. Okay, semua orang beli KitKat, nanti kita makan KitKat sama-sama. Things like that, like you take a break and have KitKat kan. Chit chat in between, they are also human, like I said, apa salahnya you spend, dia tak kacau pun you punya. I know many of us nak kejar syllabus. You kejar syllabus, nak habis syllabus, memang takkan ada masa. If you can actually, remember tadi I cakap pembugaran yang dilakukan oleh those people, the school counselors during school, they use the first 5 minutes of the lesson just to get movement, they do brain gym, they do relaxation technique, they sing together, bukalah lagu UIA nyanyi sama-sama, just to make themselves, kalau dalam education kita punya set induction, so you try to induce dia punya, you try to get their attention to focus on us. So tell them, I want you all to do the deep breathing before my class. Okay, I know you probably will just come out from another session class, but now you're in my class, I want you to be ready for me. So benda-benda macam tu, little things you do. If you have anything, you gaduh dengan mak you ke, dengan kakak you, dengan sibling you ke, but you are in my class, I want you to put that aside. Life can be difficult, kakak nak ini, berebut itu, berebut ini, but you are in my class, you enjoy my class, things like that. You make it like casual. You also, mungkin dia kata, oh alah cikgu ni, doktor ni macam tahu je aku bergaduh dengan kakak aku ke, things like that. Kalau you belum mandi, make sure nanti mandi dulu sebelum masuk kelas saya, lagi fresh. Kalau awak ada duit lebih sikit, belilah sabun mandi yang wangi sikit, yang menyegarkan, yang refreshing sikit. Jangan Dettol pun okey, sabun Lux pun okey. Tapi kalau awak nak rasa macam segar lagi, awak lah carilah sabun-sabun wangi, sabun yang ada apa ni yang sekarang ni, apa yang ice tu kan, yang sejuk, yang menyegarkan tu kan. So just something yang is a daily thing. Then you masuk kelas saya, tak ada muka sememeh kan. So you are with me, okay lah you nak pakai kaftan, pakai tudung gitu. Tapi saya masih lagi struggle nak suruh buka kamera. But I think the best thing is dibuka kamera lah. So chit chat, they are also human being. Get feedback from them. Last week saya bagi banyak assignment kan. What do you think? This is how to get connected. Saya bagi assignment this. I know it's quite challenging. Ada apa-apa soalan? How can I be helpful to you? How can I facilitate? How can what are questions you have? So sometimes we just give them the assignment. We don't go back to them. We don't check on them whether they're okay or not. Kita ada expectation, but we don't know whether dia penerimaan, how they're struggling with it. So ada juga student yang tak berhenti-berhenti nak tanya kita, I know, yang duk harass kita. But I think you know how you want to deal with in between. So if you think it's universal issue, you address that in class. Tadi kau tanya saya personally, kenapa awak tak nak tanya dalam group supaya orang boleh layan? Saya selalu encourage them to, if it's about assignment, ask in group so that I can just answer once, everybody listen. But if you have personal thing, you can PM me. Okay? Because sometimes they PM me. You imagine lah kalau 20-30 orang PM the same thing, penat kan? So I have to take care of myself. Self-care is also important. So these are the things. Learn new fun thing and prevent ni fatigue saja je. If we don't, what will happen? We kill their motivation. Nak habis masa ni. We fail to facilitate the process through distension. We lose the potential diamond. The student akan turn off. And hari ni turn off, esok turn off. Kalau berpanjangan dia lama-lama, terus dia blackout. Tak nak lagi. And the one thing is our responsibility to make them see learning is something, if I say fun, nanti kata, mana boleh fun? Actually learning should be fun, but we don't give good perception about education kalau we make it, we don't facilitate. Courses can be tough. I know some courses can be tough. No? Kalau engineering ni courses, I tahu anak I struggle. So it can be tough, but it doesn't mean that we have to give that, we have to facilitate to make them see that this is tough things, this is tough materials, but you are learning for you to be able to use in the future that you can relate to. Okay, to me this is very Islamic lah kan, kalau kita nak that situation. Learning can be something fascinating and exciting. If we don't do it, it's going to be a bad start for them, and it's going to affect the rest of their life, and they're going to have very bad perceptions of university, particularly UIA. Teruknya UIA. Masa kat sekolah saya tak rasa macam ni pun. Saya nak skip ni semula. Ini normal je lah ni, shorts of grief, stress, coping, banyak coping. Okay. Benefit of teaching coping strategies ni. Sebenarnya kalau student kita cope better, kita pun memudahkan kita. Dan juga take note lah, some students cope something negative coping. Yang self-harming saya cakap tadi tu, itu memang saya punya ni lah. Saya talk memang talk about self-harming, mencederakan diri. You all dah ada ISP screening dah ada, dan nampak reflex. Cikgu Anis, Madam Hasniza dah buat ISP dengan student, semua dah ada buat ISP. Dan kita dah tahu dah siapa yang ada potential reflex. So kalau if the lecturers communicate with Hasniza, students who are having issues and trouble in class, you actually will be able to retrieve if these are the people who are actually having red flags in the ISP results. Those people, they know about ISP kan? The screening tools to see whether students are coping okay, in terms of their coping skills, their mental health, and their spiritual being. So these are the things that have been done in the beginning of the semester. So if lecturers can detect this, you can refer to Madam Hasniza, and also can do the intervention for them. Hopefully, by the time they take another ISP next semester, before they enter the degree program, we will see improvement in terms of their coping. That's our plan. Okay, that's why ISP ni ialah IIUM sejahtera profiling yang student ambil in the beginning is actually for us to identify those people who needs help in the beginning, who have low coping, poor coping, who have mental health issue. We can detect in the beginning, so we can help them throughout, provide intervention, and then check on them again at the end of CFS and see if they're still struggling. We can continue when they enter degree program. We'll be able to assist them later. All right, so this is why ISP is in the picture. So I hope lecturers will be able to help us to make this thing happen. Ada apa nak cakap tak ni Madam Hasniza?
Ya, tak ada.
Sebab ada student yang dia punya coping is negative.
Yes.
Let's do something, minum kopi Nescafe campur in one, nak study kopi Nescafe Milo semua dia taruh all in one. Lagi dia kata lagi power, I can stay up. And sad to say there are ambil masa dia ni. There are students that yang ambil certain substance to stay awake, and it's very sad. There are smart students, they are taking pills, they are taking ecstasy pills and all that to feel better. There are also trends among our students who are taking things to ada food yang boleh buatkan dia nampak macho dan sebagainya. Those are things yang boleh affect their brain and all that, and that can actually affect their thinking process. And no matter how smart they are, their brain are affected, and that's harming oneself ni, self harm ni. It's not necessarily physically harm juga sebenarnya. Psychologically, they can be doing things, that is not physically. You tak nampak luka, but nanti bolehlah dengar saya punya talk tentang self harm. I think on the 21st. Self harm ke 21st? 21st. Dan loss of loved ones pun saya akan buat dengan Your Education, kehilangan yang tersayang on the ni iklan lah ya Smiza, tapi
boleh Doktor.
21st saya dengan Madam Syuhada will talk about self harm. On the 31st, the very last day of bulan counselling, dan 31st saya akan cakap tentang kehilangan tersayang, loss of loved ones. I will invite my one of our alumni who have lost 5 family members to COVID-19, and she's also our counselling students. And you counsellor ke tidak ke, you tak kebal. When you lost someone, you lost someone.
Betul.
The reason I masuk area grief and loss because I lost my mom. I question myself. I cannot cope with the situation. I cannot deal with the loss because my mom sakit 3 bulan. So that's how I started to learn about. Okay, teruslah.
Calling.
Alright, so stress management nanti Madam Asliza bagilah banyak cara stress management.
Okay, minggu depan Doktor kita ada stress management program.
Bagus.
To all staff and students.
So, apa yang kita buat, kita kongsi dengan pelajar, bukan nak menunjuk ke apa. Maybe kita boleh tanya from our students, what do you do to have therapeutic feeling? So what do you do? Can share with me, because I have students who are doing gardening and share with me in the class about apa dia buat, cooking and gardening and whatever dia find helpful, share with in the class macam 2-3 minit, and then I say okay, next round somebody else share. So we keep on sharing things, how you to stay sane in life kan. Okay, so saya rasa itu saja. Yang lain ni tak penting sangat. Inilah, the mentally healthy person, live well, sleep well, eat well, self-care and self-compassion. Sorry lah agak saya skip. I don't think the slide you can always read anywhere now, banyak sangat ni kan. So I think that's the end of it lah. I hope it is helpful. It's not everything, but insyaAllah hopefully dia membantu lah. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask me later, ataupun kita dah habis masa kan? Ada nak tanya soalan?
Patutnya dah habis. Okay, tak apa. Tapi there is no question in YouTube. Dekat chat pun tak ada. Tapi kita kan dah banyak bersembang tadi, Doktor.
Okay, tak apa. It's okay. I know it is almost lunchtime. Kita, ini pun basic needs tadi. We are human being. I think memanglah this is the moment yang macam kita kena take a break and have good rest, solat dan sebagainya. But I hope it is helpful lah. Ni Husna.
Nak share dengan Doktor, saya dah discover seorang student memang kehilangan mak, the mother, due to COVID-19. I knew about this one during interview with them for zakat application. So ada seorang yang kita dah discover, mungkin lepas ni kita akan contact lah. So thank you Doktor, sebab kita cuma sebelum saya dengar yang Doktor punya sharing ni, kita macam okay dia hilang mak, that's it. Tapi kita tak macam rasa dia hilang mak due to COVID-19, which is something. Okay, mungkin akan affect dia lebih teruk sebenarnya, tapi kita tak terfikir sebelum ni.
Tak apa, kita boleh
memang kita kena buat satu slot panggil Dr. Haniza for overcoming. overcoming loss and grief and loss.
Okay. Untuk our students.
Yes,
Yeah.
untuk our students.
Boleh untuk large, untuk yang general idea saya kira kita boleh bagi for the larger group untuk information yang general lah. Tapi kalau rasa ada pelajar yang affected deeply ataupun they lost the close family members tu, kita boleh buat close group. Maknanya tertutup, hanya mereka dan mereka boleh berkongsi. Sebab itu yang saya buat dengan sekolah dekat area Shah Alam ni, ada 2-3 sekolah. Sebab what happen is when they lost their parents, many parents yang kalau T20 M40 pun jadi B40 because of the loss of the parents. So we try to approach, sebab dengan sekolah ni kita tak boleh buat physical, jadi kita buat online, just to touch on, to just educate them about their own feeling, to understand how they feel. And if they need help, nanti dia boleh datang jumpa dengan kaunselor individually. Normally itulah rentetannya, kita buat psychoeducation yang pada semua untuk in general, lepas tu kita pergi pada kelompok,
Kelompok, yes.
yang affected. Dan kalau dalam grief group tu kita rasa dia perlukan individual counselling, nanti cikgu counselor boleh pick up lah from there. And this is very important, we give them the ruang. They know that can be helped. And there are delayed reaction, ada orang dia tak tunjuk. This one also we need to educate them, tell them today maybe you think that you don't need help, but if someday if you need help, grief there's no time schedule, maybe esok lusa, tahun depan, birthday mak dia teringat baru dia terasa, hari raya baru dia terasa. These are anniversary of loss ataupun festivities will always make them remember their loved ones. So this is something we can help lah in the future, insyaAllah. Alright?
InsyaAllah Doktor. Saya take up benda ni. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Doctor. Okay, thank you very much to all participants and also to our organizer. Okay, and then hope to have some sharing again with you, Doctor, in future. Okay, with staff and also with our students later on. Okay, so we close our class.
Dah kelas ni.
Sebab basic needs.
InsyaAllah.
Basic need callings.
All the best, tahniah semua. Kerana if you choose this topic, it's important. That's a good start. So insyaAllah.
InsyaAllah.
Okay, Doctor, thank you again. Okay, we close our
Thank you,
session
Dr.
with
Hamiza.
Surah Al-As and Tasbih Kafarah. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Han.
Thank you
so much.
Assalamualaikum.
Wassalam.
Thank you, Usna.
Thank you, Kak Zah.